What's up, hockey fans? It's the Hockey Happy Hour live, and tonight we are going to talk about the draft. So get ready, strap yourselves in. It's coming at you right now.
Let's go! This ain't the fuck like force this game, he stinks!
Oh shit!
It's gone!
New edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. I am Matt Cincinnati, along with the one and the only Brad Ryer. How you doing, Brad?
I'm doing great.
That is great to hear. Tonight,
Yes.
as opposed to anything else, right?
Yeah, well, as opposed to everything else.
Yeah.
I'm fine. The whole world is falling apart around me, but I'm fine.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. We'll try to keep it as stable as we can.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well,
There weren't any shootings today, were there?
No.
Oh,
Thank God there wasn't.
Okay, good. So at least we don't have to talk about that today.
Yes.
Thank God.
We welcome everybody to another edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. And tonight we are going to be talking about the draft. As always, the cup's been awarded. We know who the champ is. Now it's time to see what team is setting themselves up for a future championship. Hopefully one of those teams could be the Flyers for me. For Brad, he's hoping that the Rangers, they're already set up for it, but maybe they can get some odds and ends out of the draft for the future. The point is that hopefully...
Well, the Rangers, so I don't know about that, but I mean, we kind of traded them all. We traded a lot of them for for Cop and for Petrano and who's the guy we got from the Flyers last year?
Braun.
Braun. He was pretty good.
Yeah.
I've heard that the Rangers would like to get him back, so there's a chance he may re-sign with them.
Maybe. I mean, Justin Braun's not a bad player. Unfortunately, where the Flyers are at, he's one of those guys that's good depth for when you're competitive. Flyers were not competitive, so obviously send him to a team that's competitive.
He's a good number 6 defenseman. for a third pair guy, you could do a lot worse than him.
Yeah, that's true, right? Yeah,
You know,
there is far
helping teach the kid Brandon Schneider teach him how to conduct himself professionally and blah 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 and this and that.
Yeah,
you could do worse than him.
Yeah, it's like, listen, kid, when you go to the bathroom, this is the toilet you shit on, not that one. Things like that. Very important.
And you
stuff.
can't go beating everybody up. You have to. You can't do that. You have to just play hockey.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, Schneider did like to drop the gloves a little bit more than I wanted to see happen. You know what happens with rookies? Everybody wants to test them, and then they have to try to, show their manliness and be tough with everybody. He doesn't need to be doing that.
Yeah, they got to defend themselves sometimes because that's just how it works.
Oh, I know. So were you all about Colorado winning the Stanley Cup, even remotely?
Me, I didn't really care who won. Did I pick Tampa early in the year, so I wanted to stick to my guns with it. But I've been wrong before about who wins the Cup. I could be wrong again. It's not the end of the world for me.
Believe it or not, this is the third year in a row I picked the correct Cup winner.
Really?
I had Tampa Bay the last 2 years, and this year I picked Colorado. So It's not like I was going out on the limb. I had picked Tampa Bay 5 years in a row. and Rob kept saying to me, "You're just going to keep picking them until they win." He said, "Eventually they'll win." I said, "Yeah, at some point."
Well,
But I didn't think they would win 3 in a row. I just thought that was asking way too much.
well, the old saying goes, a blind squirrel finds a nut eventually, and eventually Tampa wound up winning and found it 2 nuts,
Right.
actually. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
That's one wealthy blind squirrel. Anyway, so for anybody out there, though, who might be a blind squirrel in terms of, being out and about and trying to get the ladies and what have you, there is a solution to your problem for you to kind of upgrade yourself and upgrade your life, and that
How do
is
you do
Manscaped. You can get 20% off with free shipping with the code A2D at manscaped.com. It's 20% off, free shipping, A2D code, manscaped.com. It's time to throw out your old hygiene habits, because if you haven't gotten noticed, that may very well be the problem. It may be that the hygiene just isn't up to snuff, and that's just not going to be pleasant for anybody. So throw out the old hygiene habits, upgrade your life, get Manscaped, and there you go. The ladies will be beating down your door after that, and then you got nothing to worry about. Hell, you'll feel great. You'll feel great not just there, you'll just feel great in general. Then you go around town feeling like you're hot shit. I mean, I wouldn't recommend doing that, but you might very well feel that way at the end of the day. So go to Manscaped and unlock it. All right. And the poll question for tonight, as always, brought to you by BetUS, the leading online sportsbook that has been in the market for over 25 years. You can bet anywhere in the U.S. on everything. Use the link that you see down there for 125% sign-up bonus. And, definitely worth checking that out, because baseball's still going right now. And who knows? Might be able to make yourself a little quick cash. I know maybe not everybody out there is the biggest soccer fan in the world, but hey, maybe you might make some cash on the side with that. Maybe not necessarily MLS, but if you do the European leagues, might make a little cash over there. So definitely consider taking a look at that and, earn yourself a little bonus with A2D.
Cool. It's kind of like hockey. They're shooting something into a net.
True, but it's a little slower. Just a
Yeah,
little bit. Yeah. All right. And our poll question: the Flyers were robbed of a top 3 pick. Agree or disagree? Brad, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like the Flyers got robbed of a top 3 pick?
I mean, were they the 3rd worst team in the league?
No.
Okay, so I mean, they weren't robbed, but I mean, it would have been nice to see. It would have been nice to see them catch a break, because you know what, the last couple of years, they got no breaks, and this season in particular, they were jinxed. I mean, no matter anything that could go wrong for them went wrong. I mean, Ryan Ellis, right? Really good player, and he gets hurt.
Yep.
This is the whole thing. First it's a couple of weeks, then it's a month, then it's a couple of months. Before you know it, the season's gone, and he hadn't even laced up, I don't think.
Yeah, he played 4 games.
Okay, 4 games. That you might as well be 0 as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Kevin Hayes, who, I've talked about him before, that his talent level is probably higher than 95% of the National Hockey League when he's motivated and wants to play, as you saw in the first year with the Flyers. He misses 3/4 of the season. Plus he loses his brother. That was a killer. You lose Couturier.
Injury.
Farabee, who in my opinion is going to be a very, very good player. I think he's got a very high ceiling. I think that's the right word for it, right?
Yeah, that would be the right word.
Got high ceiling. He's got a lot of talent. I think the guy can put the puck in the net. And he's tough. He can drop the gloves. I love players like that. Even though he's a Flyer, I still love players like that. So, but that's a lot. That's a lot of guys to get hurt.
Yeah.
It's just you're relying on guys who are supposed to be on your first line, and right. Yeah, they don't play. Ellis was supposed to be on the first pair defense, wasn't he?
Well, yeah, Ellis was going to be the leader of the defense, and he was going to work directly with Provorov because we didn't have someone to work with Provorov last year, and Niskanen had retired from the year before, so that was our replacement for Matt Niskanen, basically.
Yeah, Niskanen was a big loss. Niskanen was really good for you guys.
I did enjoy that, yeah, and
He was really good. I mean, he was a big upgrade over Gudis.
Yeah, over good and Andrew McDonald. But I will say, the best moment that I will still say Niskanen had was in that playoff series against Montreal, where Brendan Gallagher had just tied the game up with Montreal, and I think it was Game 5, and he had been snake bitten all series, and he was celebrating like he had just won the cup. Literally 2 seconds later, he gets into a scuff with Matt Niskanen. Niskanen takes his stick and just bam, breaks his jaw. And I was like, damn. All right, Niski.
Niskanen was tough, and yeah, you always had to wonder if he had a little bit of that Tim McCracken in him,
Oh yeah.
Dr. Hook. He kind of was like a Tim McCracken type of player. He had no problem as soon as the referee turned his back giving you the business, whether it was or more accurately like an Ed Van Impe type player.
Oh yeah, Ed Van Impe, of course.
Yeah, as soon as the referee turned his back, somebody was getting whacked.
Of course.
Yeah. So.
Of course, when Ed Van Impe did it, there was a little bit more leniency on the ice back in the day. Just a little bit.
Yeah. By the way, Ryan Belger, he says he really likes Joaquin Kimmel, but I doubt they'll take him. He's supposed to be. He's rated number 5 right now in most mock drafts. He is number 5, and a lot of the drafts have him taking. Have the Flyers taking him? So.
Well, let me see. I got the NHL.com on here. Well, NHL.com's mock draft, they don't... Oh, yeah. Do they have... No, they don't have him being taken by the Flyers. But he is... Let me see how high they have him going. They have him going at like 7 to Ottawa. But still, it's pretty high, though. All the same. It's top 10.
I mean, the guy scored 6 goals in 5 games at the under-18 Worlds this offseason. So, I mean... That guy's got some talent. He's a legitimate sniper. I mean, I'm looking at some of the guys maybe that are ahead of him that maybe the Flyers could have a shot at. Obviously, they're not going to get Wright or Cooley. No. We know that. That's probably most likely. Slafkovsky is probably going to get picked by Arizona at 3, at least from everything I heard. So. That leaves the Flyers basically with Simon Nemec, which I doubt they're going to get because I would think Seattle probably would want to get a good young defenseman, Yeah. And then there's you have guys like Matt Savoy and David Jurichek. So and then there's Jonathan Lecker-Mackey, however you pronounce his name. There are some guys that can score. And we'll see what happens there. It seems to me that would be a good fit, actually. I think that's a good call, Ryan.
Yeah, it might be. It might be that might be the answer because we have needed to have a top goal scorer. We haven't had one in a while, and the problem is that we have a lot of unselfish players that currently populate the Flyers roster. And while it's okay to not be a selfish player at times, sometimes you got to be a little selfish. Sometimes you gotta take that shot, and you gotta get going, because maybe you're the reason that the team gets its offensive, juices flowing, and then next thing you know, not only did you pop one in the back of the net, somebody else popped one in the back of the net, and then somebody else, then you're up 3-0. Sometimes you need that. I don't know if you noticed player.
With the Rangers when they got Frank Vetrano. Mm-hmm. First 40, he played in 47 games with Florida, and he scored 10 goals.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay. For the Rangers, and I believe he scored 8 in 22.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah,
15 goals. I mean, And you know what? And the Rangers were saying they wanted to get him because he has a one-track mind. Every time he gets the puck, he wants to shoot. And
Yeah.
Kreider and Zibanejad are not those type of players. I mean, Zibanejad is kind of like a Ovechkin Jr. He stands in the off wing face-off circle. He's adopted Ovechkin's office. And he fires that slap shot, which is as nasty as it gets because it's always high into one of the corners, you know. And that's kind of, and Kreider just kind of stands in front of the net. I mean, he's not shooting. He's kind of just standing there, letting tipping it out of boxes, shots from the point. So when they got Petrano, obviously that's why he was so successful.
Yeah, you're right. So, like I said, sometimes, like we were saying, selfish player, shoot the puck, and get the offense going. Before you know it, like we say, you get the puck in the back of the net, and everything starts to roll after that.
Yep.
And we got Jake saying, "What up, guy? What up, fellas? Hope you had a good fourth. Hope you had one as well, Jake. I'm going to disagree with the poll. Hopefully, the Flyers have a solid draft." And he's praying for it, really, if anything, and so am I.
Well, they really, that's something that they've got to have at this point. They've got to draft well. Hopefully they can find a couple of players that can actually play this year. That would be really nice. But from what I'm understanding, and at least as far as the rumor mill, sounds like they're all in on Brady Matthew Tkachuk and Gaudreau. Sounds like they're throwing their hat in the ring for one of those two guys.
Really interesting.
Yeah, I read that today on hockey. As far as hockey rumors go, NHL rumors. They're both on the rumor mill as far as their free agency is concerned. So it'd be very interesting because Gaudreau is from, I believe, he's from New Jersey, is he not? He's from
that
South
he
Jersey.
is. Yes,
he's
he
from
is.
South Jersey, and I do think that the Flyers were his team growing up, and they're trying to put that together like a kind of a Mike Trout thing. So we'll see. I from what I've heard, he loves Atlanta. Atlanta loves him, but I don't know if he wants to stay in Atlanta because I think he's concerned about the fact that team cannot seem to keep themselves up in the top of the league. They're good and then they're bad, and
You're saying Atlanta?
Did I say Atlanta?
You're saying Atlanta. The Flames haven't been in Atlanta in a long time.
Calgary, Atlanta. Oh my God! Yeah, they used to keep the Rangers out of the playoffs back in the mid '70s. Yeah. Yeah, Eric Vail can really shoot that puck, and so can Tom Lysiak. Oh boy!
Oh man!
Atlanta, yeah, they don't even have the Thrashers anymore.
No, they lost them. Well, that's because the ownership was so terrible down there. But then again, I've heard that that's commonplace for Atlanta, is that ownership's not great down there anyway.
No.
All right.
Yeah, I'm never gonna. I have a feeling I'm never gonna hear the end of that one. Oh, anyway, sorry. I guess I showed my age there a little bit.
The old Wiseman, Brad Breyer.
But in any event, those two guys, Calgary would like to keep those two guys, from what I've heard. But can they really afford to keep them both? I mean, if they pay them both, what are you talking about? Like $18 million, probably. To keep them both. So what is that? Like a quarter of the 1836? That's like 25% of your salary cap on two players. Can they really afford to do that? I mean, it's not like the two guys on Edmonton. It's not like McDavid and Draisaitl.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see as we go forward. I mean, obviously we have Dylan, who is a Flames fan down here. What's up, Dylan? He was saying, "What's going on, guys? Hope all is well. I agree to the poll. The league has always screwed the Flyers out of higher spots, especially picking number 1 overall." But then he went on to say,
number 2. It's not their fault that they screwed up the number 2 a few years ago.
"Okay, well, that unfortunately you can't do much about that, and I can't disagree with it. They made a horrible pick in Nolan Patrick there."
Yeah.
But to be fair, the Flyers don't have much experience picking in the top 10. And that's not necessarily because the Flyers have always been competitive. It's because the Flyers always like to put Band-Aid over their issues. If they've got a gushing wound, they put 50 fucking Band-Aids over it to stop the bleeding. That's how they clot those gashes they get over the time. And then they try to – the last time I think they got a top 5 pick right, it was Mel Bridgman. And that was in the early 80s. So that's a long time ago. So
holy smokes, that was he was good.
He was, and
he was good, and was he tough.
He was, and the only reason why Lindros doesn't count is because the Flyers didn't pick Lindros; they traded for him. So
they traded Forsberg, not their best moment.
Yes, it would have been Forsberg, but they traded him away.
Yeah.
So let's see. But Dylan goes on to say Daryl Sutter got the best out of Gaudreau. I don't see him making the same impact anywhere else. Plus, also, now that we've got John Tortorella as our coach, I'm always going to have a hint of doubt on certain things because of that. But then on top of it, also says Elliot Freeman said it's unlikely as the Flyers don't want to part with their 5th overall pick. I can understand why, because I get it. There's the 3 players, and then after that, it seems to be the 3 high-impact players, and then you get a bunch of solid players. But if you're the Flyers at this point, if you could get a guy who's a true goal scorer in this draft, I would rather go with that and groom him than necessarily go with Gaudreau. Don't get me wrong. I understand why people want Gaudreau. I understand why they want him here, but I don't know how he'll handle Torts. I don't think he handled Torts well. And then on top of it, I would rather see us go for.
That's not fair, because you know what? They said that about Marian Gaborik when Torts was coaching the Rangers, and he scored 40 goals for Torts.
All right, okay, fine. I can't argue that because yes, Gaborik was a major contributor.
He was even blocking shots. I remember John Davidson was their commentator, and I remember he rolled out and he blocked a shot when he was penalty killing, which was not Gaborik never used to penalty kill, but Tortorella used to make him. And he went out and blocked a shot, and he was laughing. He said, "I don't believe this. Even Gaborik is blocking shots now." But that's why I remember it so well. Listen, good players can play anywhere.
That's true and all. Just I don't know. I'm so over getting major players in trades and free. I would rather just get younger and build up youth. I'm so tired of doing that same old. Let's go get the big sexy name, bring them to Philadelphia and see what happens. And then they get Philadelphia-itis, and like Ryan Ellis did this past season, and get hurt, or they're not playing nearly as well because they don't fit the system. It's like, oh, no, I don't want that. Like, that's the last thing we need is another one of those,
Okay. No, listen, I mean, I understand that. I wouldn't mind seeing Gaudreau in the Rangers, but there's no way the Rangers only have $12 million in cap space right now. They sure as hell can't spend $9 million on one player when they've got all these RFAs they have to pay. So that's not going to happen.
No, you are right.
Yeah, unless Panarin or Trouba get traded, and that would be the dumbest thing they would ever do.
You have to perform some cap acrobatics there in order to make that work.
Yeah, that happen.
Yeah. So Dylan's saying Tortorella will have one bad game from Gaudreau and he'll bench him. Sutter puts a struggling player out there more to put him in more situations to get out of a slump. The reason he moved Monahan down to the 4th line and took him off the power play was until he found his stride.
Well, Dylan, I think you kind of have Tortorella mixed up with Mike Keenan. I think that's you're confusing those two. Because maybe Mike Keenan might do that. I don't think Tortorella's not gonna bench anybody. He's certainly not gonna do that.
I mean,
although you know what he did. No, he didn't do that. Keenan did that with Leach in Game 4 against the Devils in '94. Keenan benched Leach in that. Tortorella is not going to be benching anybody. That's really not his thing. He has a big doghouse, I will admit. I remember Chris Kreider used to be always in his doghouse all the time, and he didn't really become a big-time player until Tortorella got fired and Vigneault came in. So that's possible. He benched Dubois and Line. Well, Dubois I can understand because Dubois was playing like a little girl. Okay. And Line was playing no defense. So, in fairness to Tortorella, okay, I'm not going to give you that one. Nope, not at all. Not at all. I mean, I you remember pretty well about Dubois. He was calling him a little girl. Don't you remember that?
I do remember that, and that was one of the leading catalysts to him getting traded.
Yeah. He was like he wouldn't go into the corner, and then he stole that line from the Toronto Maple Leafs back in the '70s about Inge Hammerstrom. That if he went into the corner with a dozen eggs, none of them would be broken.
I mean, at least he didn't have to steal. Like, he didn't have to do that. He could have come up with his own thing. But, all right.
Yeah. He made his point, though. But sometimes, I mean, when guys aren't hustling, and those two guys, let's be honest, okay? You're talking about two guys that are head cases and have been known to go on the ice and kind of take shifts off. So I'm not going to blame him for those two guys.
I got you. So let's see here. And that's Anthony saying Tortorella wants accuracy with 100% and not play 50%. What's up, Tom? Checking in on us.
Hello, Tom. Is that a bad thing, though?
What?
That Tortorella wants you to give 100% when you're on the ice?
Well, no, that's definitely not a problem.
Okay.
I think the thing is, it's that, and this is one of the reasons why I'm not a huge fan of bringing in Torts is my biggest issue with Torts is I don't think he's known as a coach that develops young talent. That's not what his job is. His job is like, I'm here for when the team is ready to compete. And the thing is, I don't feel like the Flyers are right now. I feel like the Flyers really need to figure out who they are as a team. And I feel like that they're kind of lost in that.
I'm trying to remember. That's not true. I don't agree with that at all. Brandon Dubinsky and Ryan Callahan, when they first came up with the Rangers, I think he did a nice job developing that team.
Wait a minute.
Ryan McDonough. I mean, he had some guys that he developed into really good players. Ryan McDonough, they just traded Ryan McDonough for Scott Gomez. Ryan McDonough, okay, and Ryan McDonough had, Tortorella will have a mental breakdown the moment Zegras scores in Michigan on Carter Hart. Yeah, he might. Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, come on, it's Zegras, though. Zegras is just an incredible talent. That's a guy you have to hit all the time.
B-Ball Josh saying Torts is on a mission to stop letting Hart get peppered. Now, here's the thing. If his defensive style does get accepted by the team and Hart isn't getting peppered every night, that's a good thing. Because Hart, unfortunately, he would get lit the fuck up by players and by teams because the defense was trash in front of him. But my question is, though, can that defense do it on its own without Ryan Ellis being there? Can Provorov step up and actually do something this time? That's where my big concerns lie with that.
Well, his system, Tortorella's system, is pretty darn simple from what I remember when he was coaching the Rangers, and he had them when they played defensively. They played in layers, and to get shots at the goal. The defensemen were blocking shots. The forwards were blocking shots. Everybody tried to block shots, and if you didn't try to block shots, then you weren't going to play. was that simple. He wanted everybody to sell out and play the game. I know that does have its disadvantages. I do remember that I think it was Ryan Callahan that broke his leg because he went out and blocked a Chara slap shot and ended up breaking his leg.
Yeah, that's what a Chara slap shot will do.
It was either him or Dubinsky. I can't remember, but I'm talking about the Ranger teams before they traded for Rick Nash. Those kind of guys. They were real diggers and hustlers. They didn't have a lot of talent, but they played hard and they were able to get to the semifinals a lot. And then Vigneault came in and got him to the finals. But he developed some pretty good players. I don't think that's really fair. To say that he can't develop young talent.
I mean, all right, I will give him this too. Columbus was kind of leadless and lost when he came there, and he did get them their best seasons. I can't deny that from him either. So that's another team that had some talent that was young and undeveloped too.
A system to sweep the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round of the playoffs. I mean, that's
yeah,
not easy to do.
That might very well be their best season right there because it is because that was their first ever playoff series victory. So that he did give Columbus their best seasons in franchise history. I can't take that away from him. I will say that I cannot take that away from him.
Yeah, I mean, and did he not develop Bobrovsky? Bobrovsky was a very mediocre goalie when he was early in his career with the Flyers.
He was, and the potential was there for Bobrovsky, but unfortunately, the situation in the Philadelphia was all fucked up because of the fact that Brizgalov was here. But they sent Bobrovsky back into Columbus, and Columbus goes on. He does go on to win a Vezina and what have you over in Columbus.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I mean, so I think a lot of this. I'm just wondering how much of this negativity about Tortorella is because he coached the Rangers. And I know everybody down here hates the Rangers, but
no, I don't think it's that. I think it's the man himself. I don't really think it's the Rangers aspect of it. It might be to some, but
he's mean. He's mean. He's not a nice person in the locker room. Okay, but from what I heard, the last couple of years he was in Columbus, he was getting a lot kinder and gentler. He was pulling a Tom Coughlin, if you would, and it mellowed out to the point where some of the players actually did like him. So. There has to be something to that. I know a lot of them didn't, but he's offensively restricted.
Interesting. What's up, Don?
Hey, Don.
Let's see. People, Josh saying, I'm just ready to go back to watching subpar hockey. Miss my Fly Guys. We're not even halfway. We're not even really into the off season yet, and it's already.
No,
it's already happened.
When's the draft? Friday or Thursday?
It's the 7th, so it would be.
Okay, that's Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday. So, there's no picks for the Rangers unless they jump into the first round, and I don't see that happening at all.
Yeah, I do have the Flyers picks, and we can definitely go through them and see how many picks the Flyers have going into the rounds and such. Oh boy, the swoopy paragraph. We knew we were going to get one. Here we go. So we're saying the Flyers must begin building this team with players who are all around great skaters, regardless of whether they are forwards or defensemen. Skating must be a priority in every play. Every move they make, skating must come into focus so that they can begin playing an all-out, up-tempo, and very aggressive style of play. Build the team with this philosophy in mind in every way possible.
Skating is great, but you still can't. Being soft is not part of the equation, though. Just because you're a good skater doesn't mean that you're not soft.
I
think the Flyers need a little sandpaper really bad.
There is that too. They were getting checked off pucks way too easy, and there was getting into the dirty areas. They were not handling themselves very well down there. So there is an element of that as well. There needs to be a little bit of toughness injected into the veins because when you're getting pushed around a lot and you're getting out checked all the time, it's like it's no real surprise you turn the puck over every 5 minutes in your own zone.
So, do you think the Flyers are going to go defense or forward?
Well, it depends. If they're going all in on John Tortorella, they might go with a defenseman, honestly. However, though, if they decide to go for what they need, and I know there's the old saying of drafting for need,
That's got to be Kemmel then.
Yeah, that would be the case.
Why? Because listen, as I said before, you're not getting Wright, you're not getting Cooley, okay?
No.
You're not getting Slafkovsky. Forget it. Those three guys, unless somehow you can get. From what I've heard, the only team that might be willing to trade its draft pick is the Arizona Coyotes.
Well, that's because Arizona will trade anything. Arizona will trade their firstborn for 2 picks and a really crappy player. So,
well, Arizona has 3 first-round picks this year.
Doesn't surprise me.
3, 27, and 32, right? I'm not mistaken. That could be. I could be wrong, but I thought that was what I.
Well,
heard.
let me pull up the mock draft here. Let me take a look at it, and then we can go through this and see what we've got on our respective mock drafts here, and who we've got where, and who we've got going at these certain picks and what have you. Before we do that, a couple of other comments here. One is Dylan saying, Fletcher thinks the Flyers are one piece away. Flyers have no farm system and should be focused on building some depth in their farm, which I agree with. Hurricanes have the best farm system, and so do the Oilers. Flames have a really good one. That's why I think there isn't a lot of panic on the top teams to acquire
Actually,
talent.
the Kings
they have talent built within. The Kings as well, yeah.
He forgot. They're really good.
I think Dylan wants to make sure he wants to will it into existence that the Kings don't get good, because then next thing you know, the Kings win 2 more cups. And then
He must be an Anaheim fan.
Yeah. Oh no, Dylan's a Flames fan, but if the
they're in the same division. Okay.
Yeah, because if the Kings get good, they're screwed too. So.
Yeah, have money too.
So let's see here. Dylan saying Flyers have 3-4 decent prospects in their farm right now. That's not enough. You need 12 to 15 because you gotta hope 3 or 4 of those guys pan out to be good. No, there's something to be said for having a really solid built-up farm system. Flyers really haven't had it in a while. We just lost Maxime Shusko too. He just left to go to the KHL. And Ryan Swoops saying, I trade current young players on the roster in the system who aren't great skaters for young players who are incredible skaters and have a love and passion for playing all around up-tempo, aggressive hockey.
Well, I think anybody would want that kind of a player.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let's see. And then Anthony, the problem with the Flyers is they keep bringing in coaches and the same results, and that is the players get too comfy and the coaches want to be hard on the players, but the players bitch and complain to the GM, and the owners threaten the GMs to be fired. Also, the GM is blind with the players and agents, or is binded with the players and agents. I'm not sure what he wanted to say there. But all I will say, though, is that goes back to the organization dysfunction that we've been harping on since the beginning of the season. The problem is also Flyers will bring in coaches and keep them for only 2 seasons. It's like 2 seasons, and then you go to a new coach. I'm like, you wonder why young guys can't get any traction. You wonder why players are struggling. You wonder why it's hard to be consistent year in and year out, and you can never really tell what's going to happen.
They're the football edition. They're the football edition of the Giants.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, I keep saying this.
Giants. You can't keep doing that. You can't keep a couple of years changing your coaches and general managers all the time. You can't, because everybody wants to bring in their own people. It just the players never get into a rhythm, a kind of a rhythm. I just think, you know what, Tortorella, one thing he will do, he will make them better immediately. Okay, they will be a better defensive team immediately. As soon as he walks into the locker room, they'll be better defensively, or they're not going to be on the team. because I think that Tortorella would not have come back to coach if the GM didn't tell him that he would get his type of players.
Well, that would definitely be interesting to see, because then that would impact the draft coming up. So that could be very intriguing as we look into.
Well, as far as the draft, they're going to draft the most talented player there. I think number 5 is probably going to be Kemmel, unless Seattle doesn't draft Nemec, and he's a defenseman. So
let's see here.
He's really, from what I heard, is it true he's 6'10"? This guy Nemec, and he's supposed to be like Chara.
Yeah, I think that was the rumor going around on him. I don't know if that was 110% fact. And this was Kemmelman, right?
Simone Nemec.
Nemec. Let me take a look. Nemec.
Nemec.
Nemec. Let me see here. Simone Nemec. No, he's 6 foot and 190.
Now it says here 6'10", 199. I was gonna say he must be a stick.
Yeah, I was gonna say 6'10". Like, whoa,
yeah, that can't be right. Yeah, it's gotta be.
Unless he's built like the freaking Undertaker, like.
He was clearly Slovakia's best defenseman for sure when they won the bronze medal at the Olympics. But I mean, he's probably the best defenseman out there right now. If he gets picked by the Kraken, that would be something that the Flyers would get him if they don't go for it. If Seattle does go for an offensive player, I would think it would be Kemmel.
I would think so if they're looking at that element.
Seattle. If I'm Seattle, I want to score. I need to start scoring goals.
Well, they
build up a lot of goals, but you got to score some goals too.
But they're also in that position of they got to sell. You know what I mean? Like that they're a new team, they're an expansion team, and I'm not saying that they are not in a good market for them to be a sellable product and a successful product. But when you're in a new market that hasn't had hockey really in a long time in terms of NHL level, the last time was like in the 20s. So I would say that the best option would be if you could get a superstar forward that has that ability to score and has that ability to make highlight reel moments. I want to roll with that guy. I mean, I'm not saying that you're going to immediately get that guy, but what I'm saying is it's like if you have the ability to find someone who has flashes of that, might be the option to go with, because you want to make yourself a product that's sellable very early on, and having a player that people could kind of get behind and say that's going to be our future. That's what I think Seattle will have to look at in terms of what they're drafting for.
Oh, there's another guy from the WHL, Western Hockey League, Matt Savoy.
Yeah,
and he's a center, and he's like Paul Correa, Marty St. Louis type player. And,
that would be perfect.
Yeah, he's only 5'9". That's the problem. That's why they comparing him to those two guys, but. The guy's really fast and has a great shot, and he can kind of do it all. So,
well, yeah, I mean, the size thing doesn't really bother me because how many guys have been small and have made impacts? I mean, Danny Briere, for God's sakes, that guy could score clutch goals at any moment. You could have the biggest biggest burly bastard on him in the world. He'll still find a way to get that shot through and score on you.
Remember the great Theo Fleury back in the 90s.
True. He wasn't the tallest guy in the whole world. Mike Vernon was a great goaltender, and he wasn't the tallest guy in the world in an era where there was a lot more lively opponents. Yeah. That happened a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So let's see here. Okay, so one last comment here before we dive into these mock drafts. Let's see, Swoopy's Long saying, no players on my team and in this system will have a weakness or concern with their skating and have to go to a conditioning coach to work on their skating. even with aging, skating can get better, but it can't be a weakness or a concern one bit going into their 20s. It will have to be already a strength, or there's even room to improve with age.
Okay, I get where you're coming from, Swoop, but again, just because you can skate fast, hockey skating is a little different than just skating fast. It's power. It's kind of power skating. It's skating like Yager used to, like Malkin still can. It's skating like that. It's skating hard. And just being a hard player to play against skating. That's the kind of guy that you're talking about. Hello, Peter.
What's up, Pete? And he says agree to the poll, by the way. And Johnny Blade saying here, Joe Sakic was short, but he was super athletic. He certainly was.
Oh, yeah.
And
so was Marcel Bion.
And he was saying exactly, Brad. So he wants that kind of skating as being like the main drive and the main engine of the team.
Well, he's not raw. In today's NHL, it's speed skating is pretty darn important. But I'm just saying it's hockey speed skating is a little different than just pure speed skating.
Well, that is true.
Yeah, there are certain guys who can skate fast, but they, Ryan Reeves can skate very fast, but I wouldn't call him a good skater. He can go north. He can go north and south real fast. That's one thing he can do, but he's obviously he's not he's not coordinated enough and agile.
All right, so we're going to jump into our first period, which is we're going to preview the NHL Entry Draft. We both got mock drafts up, so we're going to take a look at them and see what we have. But before that, everyone who's commenting in at the fam, keep it rolling in. We love you guys, and we love getting a chance to read off your comments and interact with you. And those comments are brought to you by Gleason's Bar, which is located at 6700 Mill Creek Ave in Levittown, PA. Use the promo code HUD for 10% off your order whenever you dine in or you go take out. And you can order online at Gleason'sBarandSteaks.com, and you can still use that 10% code as well. So get yourself some good food if you're ever in PA and you want to get yourself a nice bite. There you go. And our first period brought to you by, if you are looking to buy or sell a home, if you have a change of career in brokerage, contact Alan Foy, eXp Realty LLC at 302-682-8820 or visit him at alan.foy@exprealty.com. Listen, guys, when you're making that big change in life, if you're planning on moving and you're planning on, taking those steps forward, or you're going to sell off the old house and move into a new one, you want to do all that right, go to Alan Foy so it's done right, because the last thing you want to do is screw that up. That is the worst thing you could possibly do, is screw that up. So go to Alan Foy, get it done right. Okay, and now we head to our mock drafts. Let's take a look, shall we? So I have NHL.com's, so I have that one up. Which one did you have up?
Okay, I have a USA Today. Kyle Woodley.
Okay, so USA Today is up there on their mock draft. Okay, then. So let's take a look and see. Let's compare and contrast.
He's the chief scout. This guy's the chief scout for Red Line Report, and he's done a lot of it in his life. So I think some of this stuff is pretty dead on from what I've heard about some of these guys. Anyway, that's who I have up right now. Now, I think the consensus is that Shane Wright's going to go to Montreal.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet on everybody's part here. I don't think anyone really has any debate on who's going to take Shane Wright on that one. Upstart Warrior saying last four Cup finalists had been two. Makar, Shea Weber. We got a number one D-man that can play half the game in all situations. Although Weber wasn't a part of the Cup. Well, no, he said Cup finals. Never mind. Sorry, misread that. But you are correct in that, sir. They are really great who can play all those situations. Steven Seipert saying, going on a bit off topic, what is your favorite Flyers jersey of all time? I assume you're Flyers fans based on the title of your stream, but I apologize if you're not. I'm just assuming you guys are. I am, and there are, and three of us are. Brad over here is a Rangers fan, so, but my favorite Flyers jersey, if I had to choose, I did love the ones that they had back in the 90s. I liked the long stripe going down the sleeve with originally the away ones were the main white jerseys with the orange stripe going down. The all orange one was great. The black one was beautiful. So I mean,
if you're asking me, I like the black one.
Yeah, the black one, gotcha. That was originally supposed to be their away jersey, but then when the NHL swapped it,
I can't stand the color orange. So there are several reasons for that. Okay, they're the colors of the New York Islanders and the New York Mets, two teams that I absolutely can't stand.
So there's a couple of reasons.
Yes, there's two reasons right there. So,
but I will say this though, Brad. In terms of the Rangers, I think they have one of the best sets of jerseys ever. You know, with the Ranger going down and the stripes up here with the red, white, and the blue. I always thought that the Rangers had good jerseys.
Their jerseys are classic, and they never get old, and that's why they don't really need to change them.
Nope, they just modify them a little bit on the side. Well, let me ask you a question though. What did you think about that Statue of Liberty logo that they brought in the early 2000s and the late 90s? What did you think about that?
I liked it. That's not a bad. That wasn't bad. I was okay. I was okay with that, but I just like the regular one. I like the regular one better because with their emblem, they kind of have it look. Their jersey kind of looks like their emblem.
True.
And I like the way they did it. It looks like their shield. Because they had the blue, they had the red, they had the blue stripe on the top, and then they have the Rangers going down, in red, and it looks good like that. That's and that's kind of how that's how their shield looks. So just leave it alone. You don't have to do anything to it.
Yeah.
I mean, over the years they had a couple of years where it just said New York on it on the road, and but just leave it alone. Everything's fine. It's been that way since the 40s and 50s. So just don't mind.
Like I said, they only ever changed the striping on the side, if anything, and that's okay. You change the striping a little.
A couple of years when John Ferguson came in the 70s, he tried to make them look like the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they looked horrible.
Yeah, those jerseys were pretty bad. Yeah,
they were bad. But as soon as they fired Ferguson, they changed that. They went back to.
Ironically, didn't they make the Stanley Cup Finals with those jerseys? Ironically, though.
Yeah, 78, 79.
It's kind of ironic. They changed to ugly jerseys and then make the final.
Yeah. And they were doing pretty well in that series until Carol Vadnais kicked one into the net by accident, and after that, the Canadians woke up and was like, "Oh, that's right, we're in the finals."
I would say accident in air quotes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, anyway.
So on to our, we all made the consensus. Shane Wright is the number one pick.
Yeah, he's the consensus number one. But Cooley, I'll tell you what, that they've been thinking about. They're thinking about Cooley too.
Cooley possibly being number one? Interesting.
Yep. Yeah, I've heard that they still aren't sure if it's going to be Cooley or Wright, because Cooley is supposed to be like the second coming of Zegras. So,
well,
he's got that kind of electricity and and talent. So it's going to be a tough choice.
Yeah.
Wright is going to be. Wright's going to be great. That's kind of pretty much established. He's going to be a number one center, and he's going to be really great. And if he plays with Suzuki the whole time, they're going to have a great first line for a long time. But this guy Cooley could be special.
Could be. So number two, number two for the Devils.
Kind of sickening, isn't it?
Yeah, I hate the fact that the Devils have the number two overall pick. I just hate the fact that the Devils, exist all in general. But let's see here. They have Yura Slavkovsky going at 2
Really?
for the Devils. Yeah, they do. Their reasoning is with Jack Hughes, Nico Hersher, and Dawson Mercer, the Devils are in good shape down the middle. As New Jersey looks to build its lineup, Slavkovsky brings elite offensive skills and a power forward body of 6'4", 218. He's already shown he can excel against older competition in Liga and the top professional league in Finland and at the 2022 Beijing Olympics, where as the youngest player in the tournament, he was named its most valuable player. Slavkovsky led all players with 7 goals in 7 games for Slovakia, which won the bronze medal. From a physical standpoint, he appears ready to play in the NHL next season. So,
could happen.
Yeah, they're looking at that. What does yours say?
Do the Devils want size, or do they want size, or do they want do they want the guy with finesse or size? Because Cooley is small, 5'10" and 180, and this guy Slavkovsky is 6'4", 229 pounds. So he's a big boy.
He is. I mean, the Devils defensively were not very good.
I think a lot of that has to do with the goaltending, though.
Yeah, goaltending was not great either. I think they realized that maybe Blackwood is not the answer to their problems. And, I mean, he did get hurt a lot. And then on top of it as well, they had a couple of younger players, right, that started in.
Well, they had Scott Wedgwood, who I thought was pretty darn good.
And they did have Wedgwood, yeah. Wedgwood was okay.
Yeah, they let him go, and I could never understand that because every time I saw him play, he always played pretty well. So I couldn't really.
I guess they wanted to put their eggs in the Blackwood basket. That's the only thing I could have seen.
Blackwood had a good second half 2 years ago. Last year was just a terrible year for him.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say right now, in terms of where the Devils are at, they really do need to figure out their goaltending problem. But as for their defense too, I think their defense could use a little bit of a bump.
You think that they would be they wouldn't raise to draft Nemec in the second pick, would they?
I don't think so. I think that'd be a reach if they did that, in my opinion. I mean, honestly, the fact that they wouldn't take Logan Cooley, I get it that they're strong down the middle, but if he's the highest rated player, normally you take that player. It'll be interesting to see if they decide to do that little sleight of hand and they go.
I would take a center and then just move him to wing. Because if you have a center, if when a center moves to wing, you could always put him back at center. If they get injured, you could always put him right back in the middle again, and there is something to that.
There is something to that. So
you never have enough centers, and it's hard. The center position in the NHL is the most difficult position to get good players.
It is. It is.
It's like pitching. You can never have enough. You can never have enough centers on your team.
Yeah, I mean, if they made this move, it'd be interesting. I understand where their need is there, but at the same time, it's like, why wouldn't you just take Cooley at that spot? Do they have Cooley being taken in the second spot on yours?
Yes, they do.
Okay, so I would think they take Cooley. I don't know if they necessarily go for Slavkovsky. Not to say that Slavkovsky is a schlub. He is not. He is absolutely worth grabbing at a high pick that you can get him at. But
he's a monster.
Yeah, but I think the Devils might be better served just to go with the higher talent in Cooley than necessarily trying to do a sneaky pick with Slavkovsky, at least in my opinion.
I would think that's what they're going to do.
Yeah. Don saying, so Cooley has a runner-up Calder winner potential.
Oh, he definitely does.
And Prism, what's up, brother? What's going on, man? And he's also going on to say, DeBrincat is a little, and Martin St. Louis was little too. Don't count out the little guys out. Nope, never will count out size.
We know that. We know that.
Yeah, you definitely know on the St. Louis one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Louis was unbelievable. He was an unbelievable player.
And Johnny Blaze saying the Devils caused the Flyers fans a lot of heartache over the years. Scott Stevens ended Lindros. I hate him. Well, Scott Stevens was a thug. That's what he was known for. He would go out and say, no, I went out and hurt people, and he was not afraid to say it. He said it with pride, too, at the end of the day. That was his job. And fuck him for it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, let's see. Swoopy saying, Brad, there are rumors of PLD possibility getting traded to the New York Rangers. Montreal, too, possibly.
PLD. Who's PL? What's that? What's PLD mean?
I actually don't. Is it Pierre-Luc Dubois? No.
Oh, Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Is it? It might be Dubois.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be Pierre-Luc Dubois. They're not going to get him. The Jets want the sun, the earth, and the moon for him.
Okay, so it was Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Yeah.
That's what that stood for.
Okay. Yeah. Swoopy, it's not going to happen, man. The Rangers are not going to get him. The Jets want an unbelievable. Listen, they'd be better off, in my opinion, just go if they're willing to trade Sheffield to grab him. I think that would be perfect move for them if I were the Rangers.
All right, so
Perfect. 28 in his prime. You know, you're trying to win a cup now, not in 5 years.
let's see. Dylan saying maybe whoever the Devils draft, they can teach Jack Hughes how to cook broccoli.
Oh boy.
Well done, Dylan. Let's see. At number 3, Arizona. They are taking Logan Cooley in this mock draft. Obviously, we already know what Cooley brings to the table. If Arizona win got Logan Cooley, I will feel absolutely horrible for the poor kid. No young up and coming player should ever have to deal with the burden of having to wear the Arizona Coyotes jersey and have to play for them. I would feel horrible for Cooley.
To play in a rink where your emblem isn't even at center ice,
And you're playing in a rink owned by ASU.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah, Gary Bettman lets this happen instead of just letting them move to Quebec. It's so ridiculous.
Oh my God! I said, the funny part is that like at this point, I really just feel like why not just send them somewhere? Like I get it that they will never put a team in Quebec again, and Bettman has made that perfectly clear. They have no interest in putting a team back in Quebec. Okay, really fine.
Which is stupid, by the way.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I agree. I mean,
they draw 15,000 people for junior hockey games.
I know. Then they have the Pee Wee Championships are held up there, and that draws a crowd, not just parents.
That's 15,000 as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, I get it. It's just if you're going to keep the team out west because you don't want to realign and you want to keep a market opened out there in the South, just put them in Houston. Houston has a history of hockey. Just throw them in Houston. That way you can have a Texas rivalry between them and the Stars. And then that could write itself right there. It's just, if you're going to do it, just do that then.
Or Utah.
Salt Lake City?
Yeah, why not?
Be an interesting choice. They did host the Olympics.
The Jazz play there. They get good attendance.
That's true.
I mean, they're always sold out, no matter how good or bad they are.
That's true. That's true.
I don't get it.
I saw somewhere that they might think about Swoopy's throwing out KC, Kansas City. Bring back the Scouts.
They have a rink. Yeah, they have a rink too.
Yeah. I mean, the possibility is there to keep the team out west. So it's just like, well, at this point, why don't you just put the team somewhere else out west at this point? Just do it.
Portland, maybe?
What's up?
Portland
might. I don't know. They might want to keep a team in this.
Minor league team? Are they more of a minor league city? Is that the problem?
No, I think what it is because they put Seattle in there to take a spot in the Pacific and they moved Arizona out to the Central. They might just want to take a spot that they can put in the Central. And that might be their reasoning to keep it either in Houston.
Kansas City is not a bad idea, by the way.
Yeah. Casey wouldn't be the worst option. They tried hockey there once and it had potential, but the money wasn't there at the time and the team just wasn't good. So,
They did a terrible job. They trade every time they got a good player, they traded them.
Yes. So it didn't help anything.
No, and then they traded Barry Beck to the Rangers, and that was it. That was it. So everybody stopped showing up. Period.
Funny part is, I looked it up online. There's a website called Flyers History, and it goes through literally details of the history of teams that they faced. I looked up just for shits and giggles. The Kansas City Scouts faced the Flyers I think 30 times, and they never beat the Flyers. The Flyers were undefeated against them in their entire existence. I'm like, Jesus, that is a shit team right there.
The best player they ever had was Will Paymont. Okay, how many people have really heard of Will Paymont unless you're my age?
That's a good point. Or if you're a hockey geek like me.
Yeah, probably. I mean, yeah, of course you heard of him, but I mean, he was an okay player. He was okay, but God.
Oh man! And Prism was saying, move the Coyotes to Hamilton and watch them win a cup before the Maple Leafs. I would cry laughing if that happened.
Yeah, I have to thank the Maple Leafs because they did what I've been praying somebody would do, and that would break the Rangers' futility record. Not winning a cup for 54 years. Well, the Leafs made it 55, and thanks, guys. We really appreciate now not being known as the biggest losers in the league.
Good job. You guys still won the cup in '94, so I think you automatically won that because the Leafs can't even get into the finals. They can't even get into the freaking finals. They can't get out of the first round. The last time they did was 2004. Ed Belfour was in goal, and they lost to the Flyers in the semis after Kapanen got knocked the fuck out. Roenick just took the puck and walked it right on in and scored and ended the series. So that was the last time Toronto saw the second round. And keep in mind the names I just said. Ed Belfour, Sammy Kapanen, and Jeremy Roenick. That's a long fucking time.
The last time they actually were good was when they had Lanny McDonald.
Oh my God! And that's even further away.
Tiger Williams and Darryl Sittler. That was the last time they were good.
And that was during the time when that piece of shit Harold Ballard owned the team. Jesus. Yes. Okay, we got off track. Let's get back on track here.
Third pick. I had Arizona getting Juraj Slafkovsky.
Okay, so they got Slafkovsky. Okay, then.
Okay, so they agree. Fourth pick, Seattle. They have them picking Nemec, who's the defenseman. So
they also have them picking Nemec as well here.
Yeah, so they're pretty much in agreement. Now we get to the Flyers, and here's a this is the detail on him. Kemel, 5'10", 185 pounds, from Finland, a skilled and energetic scorer. Even a shoulder injury couldn't slow his rise up the rankings, scoring 6 goals in 5 games at the Under-18 World's Enhanced Stats. So that sounds like a good deal to me.
That sounds like a really solid player right there. Hold on, let me see what I got here. On my 5th pick, I have David Yurichek, defenseman from Pelzen. A knee injury sustained at the 2022 IHF World Junior Championship slowed Yurichek this season, but he recovered to have a strong showing for Czechia at the World Championship with 2 points, 1 goal, 1 assist in 10:28 of ice time in 5 games. Yurichek projects to be a high-skill top-pair defenseman with the size of 6'3", 189 pounds, and to win one-on-one battles in the defensive zone. Well,
that sounds good.
That sounds like a kind of player that John Tortorella would want. So if they are going to go...
They hear you can't draft enough dependable defensemen. Jurasek is a safe pick because he's a sure top 4 defenseman who will contribute in a variety of ways.
I'll be honest with you. With this choice here from the Flyers, my only concern with Yurichek, at least in terms of this mock draft, I don't like the fact that he has a knee injury. And yes, I get it. He's still young and everything, but
first round though, I wouldn't pick him.
I
think they'd be better off. I think they'd be better off with Kemel or the center Matt Savoy.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that one. I mean, I just think this Yurichek guy has some potential here, but again, knee injury. I just do not like that. That's playing with fire there. At this high a pick in the draft.
They're comparing Savoy to Korea and St. Louis. I mean,
yeah. What would you rather have? Yeah, I would rather go with that.
I would rather have a guy that can play like Korea and St. Louis. I mean, God bless him if he's that good.
An upstart winger saying Flyers will take Jay O'Brien's younger brother. Oh boy.
Okay. In the sixth round, or the sixth pick, Matt Savoy is Columbus's pick, and they got that one from the Jackets for Seth Jones. And the consensus here is, it says if you're drafting solely on ability, Savoy goes in the top 5. But teams may have him lower because he's only 5'9", and you just have to convince yourself that he's Paul Kariya or Marty St. Louis. So, that's kind of it. So,
I mean, size-wise, again, they keep bringing up the size factor. I'm like, if you work around that, he can be a great player. I've never been one to say a player can't be good because of his size. Yes, I get it.
Aaron is not big.
Yeah.
To me, that's size is overrated. Listen, you can't have a whole team of small guys. Okay, I would agree with that.
I agree.
But if your star isn't that big, that doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter one way or another.
They're really making this a big problem about his size. I'm like, did you guys not watch the last 10 years? There were a lot of small players that made big impacts.
They have a lot and they have an unbelievable amount of skill.
Yeah, so I'm not buying that on that. But in terms of his talent, if he's got the ability of a Martin St. Louis, yeah, you absolutely take him as soon as you can possibly get him. Let's see. For Columbus, from the Blackhawks, they have them picking Cutter Gauthier, left winger from the USA. His skating is shot at NHL caliber already, and he's got a power forward build of 6'2", 189. That will be even better when he gets around NHL strength coach. So they're thinking that the Blue Jackets would go more for size than necessarily that. Not to say that he doesn't have skill, because apparently he does have skill. He seems to be a strong
he has terrific size and skating ability and loves to drive to the net hard.
I mean, if you want a hard-nosed power forward-like player, if that's what you want Columbus to be, which Columbus has a history of being a relentless kind of team like that, yes. It might not be the worst fit in the world for him.
Yeah, who's the guy that they got now that's such a good hard-nosed left wing? Can't remember his name. Stone.
Shit.
I can't remember the guy's name. They've got one guy there that's really a good player.
I know who you're talking about too.
Boone Jenner.
Jenner, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, it sounds to me like the guy is kind of like a Boone Jenner type, and boy, he's a nice player.
He is. I mean, he does have a habit of creating offense and not in offensive no zones. He just finds a way to make things happen. So, I think that this might not be the worst option for Columbus. If they have that opportunity to take him, might be a good idea to do it. And Johnny Blake goes on to say, imagine living in Columbus, Ohio. Good grief. Didn't say anything about the living conditions. Unfortunately, when you're drafted. Your ass is there.
Yeah. Well, you can always commute from Cincinnati.
True, right?
Oh boy.
Yeah, lots to do there as opposed to Columbus.
Oh yeah.
All right, so let's see here. Number 7, I have this is where they have Joachim Kimmel going. I know we were talking about him earlier for the Flyers.
Right. They have him here.
Gotcha. And they have him being taken by the Ottawa Senators. And Kimmel, 5'11", 171, has the potential to be a big-time goal scorer in the NHL. And right wing is an area of need for the Senators. In the past 10 seasons, Mark Stone is the only right wing to score at least 25 goals for Ottawa. Playing most of this season as a 17-year-old, he turned 18 on April 27th. Kimmel scored 15 goals in 39 games in Liga, the most by an under 18 player since Capo Caco scored in 22 and 45 games in 2018-19. I don't know if Caco is the best comparison, but because I know he's had his struggles in the league, right, so far.
Yeah. A lot of us are pretty down on him right now. So,
but who knows? Maybe he'll be the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And you had who again?
They had they have David Jurichek, and we've already gone through him.
Yeah.
Detroit, right wing, Jonathan Lekermaki.
Gotcha. And that's the same thing I got here.
Yeah, and he's supposed to be very explosive, an exceptional skater, and a dominant force at the under 18 World Championships.
Interesting. It seems like he's a sniper from what they're saying. That's why he's a pure sniper and he plays a two-way game. From what they're saying. Yes.
That sounds like Aussie. They should be so lucky to get a guy like that.
Yeah. So Don, you might be looking forward to that possible pick. Unless the Flyers snag him. Nah, Flyers aren't smart enough to do something like that.
At 9th is Buffalo.
Yep.
Okay, and you know Buffalo will do the wrong thing. So let's see. The next player they're going to ruin is somebody by the name of Cutter Gauthier.
Okay, so that was the guy that they had Columbus taking, who they said was a power forward up here in this mock draft.
Yep. That they definitely say that. Who do you have with Anaheim?
Anaheim for Buffalo for me, by the way, they had Savoy going there, and they had Frank Nazar. Nazar was.
They're pretty much in agreement with the top 10 as far it's the same players just going to different teams.
Pretty much. As for Anaheim, to finish out the top 10, Anaheim, they have Pavel Mintyukov, defenseman playing for the Saginaw in the OHL. He is an outstanding skater with high-end offensive instincts. There's a bit of a risk/reward to his approach, but his skating allows him to make up for any mistakes. He was third among OHL defensemen with 62 points, 17 goals, 45 assists in 67 games, and has a chance to be a left side complement to Jamie Drysdale at 5-on-5 and on the power play. Interesting. That's one side. There's another reporter here on this mock draft who says instead of him, they have him taking Denton Matvichuk, defense out of Moose Jaw, and said he was third on Moose Jaw with 64 points of 13 goals, 51 assists in 65 games, and had 10 points, 1 goal, 9 assists in 10 WHL playoff games. He's considered a strong skater who can lead or join the rush for scoring opportunities and create chances with his ability to anticipate plays. So they basically have, no matter which one's choosing here, they have him taking a D-man.
They have Anaheim taking Kevin Korchinski.
Is he a D-man too?
Yes, he is. So they said he's an offensive stud, had 61 assists last year in the Western Hockey League, and can really run a power play.
Interesting. All right, then. So the Ducks they're looking at them in consensus. They're saying that the Ducks are going to take a D-man with their 10th overall pick.
I would say yes. Now, just real quick, going on to, let's just go with the Patrick division. The Metropolitan division. Well,
sure.
Okay, let's just real quick go with that. Columbus, they're saying Frank Nazar, and you've already mentioned him.
Yes.
At the 12th pick. The Islanders, they're saying Brad Lambert, who's a center.
Okay.
And he's actually the son, the nephew. I'm sorry, he's the nephew of the new Islander coach Lane Lambert. So that probably sounds like a fit to me.
Yeah. That does sound like a fit, actually. Come to think about it.
Sounds like a fit. Let's see. I'm just looking just for our division here. Sabres with a second first round pick from Vegas.
Sabres aren't in our division.
No, but I like to mention them anyway.
All right.
I just want to mention the next player that's going to be ruined.
Okay.
Marco Casper, a rugged 6'1" center, hard to play against in any role. Lots of composure. Oh, wait, that doesn't sound that promising.
No, it does not.
Skater, plenty of composure. Oh boy, that sounds exciting to tell you the truth.
It sounds like a Buffalo pick.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, here's the Washington Capitals at 20, right wing Danila Yurov from Russia.
Okay, then.
And he has the skills package they're seeking. He's a good fit as a strong skater who likes up-tempo hockey.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's Russian. He'll probably be good.
Yeah, that's usually how it works. Oh, he's Russian? All right, then he'll score like 30 goals every year.
That's usually what happens. Okay, the Pittsburgh Penguins, by the way, they drafted 21. And that's interesting that you have the Capitals and Penguins at 20 and 21. Because
that is interesting.
Yeah, because if one of those teams screws it up and the other team drafts a great player, good Lord. You know how much they all hate each other. Those two teams, their fans hate each other. So
that is true.
They have Isaac Howard, a left wing, who scored 33 goals for the U.S. program and dynamite in the under-18 World Worlds, and was the fastest skater on the USA team.
Interesting.
If I was Washington, I would go with Isaac Howard.
That may not be knowing Washington's style, if they're still with Peter Laviolette coaching them, that might not be the worst choice in the world to go with that.
Not at all. And let's see. Did we cover all the the Rangers don't have a first round pick.
Then Carolina doesn't?
Carolina, I'm looking for it, and I guess they don't. So I don't see them in.
They must have traded it. All right, then. I think that's pretty much it for our division because we covered the Devils, we covered Flyers, obviously, the Islanders. Yeah, we covered everybody.
We got the whole division.
Yeah,
we got the job done.
Yes. I will go over the Sharks since they are my second team real quick here.
Go ahead.
Number 11 they're picking. So they're just outside the top 10. The choices that they seem to have chosen for them, one is taking Danila Yurov, right winger out of Magnitogorsk in Russia. The Sharks could take a chance with a highly skilled Yurov, who's 6'1", 178, who didn't have a point in 21 games in the Continental Hockey League. However, he averaged 1.57 points per game, 36 points in 23 games, fifth among players with at least 20 games in the MHL, Russia's junior league. One scout compared his game to Hockey Hall of Famer Marian Hossa. Yeah, but I'm not exactly willing to take that chance, so I probably would pass on that one.
Here they say Jimmy Snuggerud. Okay.
Snuggerud, okay. What are they saying about him?
Son of former NHLer Dave Snuggerud. Don't remember where he played. I do remember the name, though. And the guy has a big, powerful shot and a high compete level. I like that guy better.
Yeah, I like him better.
He has a big shot and a quick release and a high compete level. I think that sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, that sounds better than this kid who's 6'1" and 178. Sure, he's tall, but he didn't score a single goal in 21 games. And then, I'm not buying that one. No, that's too much of a reach for my liking there.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, we talked about a preview of the top 10 there of the entry draft. And now we will move on to the second period. The second period, we're going to go over the Flyers picks and see how many they've got and what possibilities that could lead to. And that second period is brought to you by All Campus OC. If you're ever down in Ocean City, New Jersey, which is, of course, a beautiful place during the summertime and in the spring, you can head on down there and check out the shop, All Campus, run by the great John Coyle, who also does the rant booth on A2D Radio. And he's giving 20% off of everything in the store, including hats, shirts, to all of A2D's subscribers. So get subscribed up, head on down to Ocean City, check out All Campus, and wear your team colors with pride. All right. And with that, take a look at the Flyers draft picks and what the Flyers will have to work with. But before we do that, just wanted to say hi to Eileen, who is saying, hope you guys are doing well and having a nice evening. Definitely. So far, having a great evening. So nice to see you, Eileen. And let's see here. Johnny Blade says, there's a lot of hockey players with the last name Chuck in their last name.
Yeah. Okay.
He also went on to laugh at the Patrick division when you said that. They threw out the old Hartford Whalers on that one, although the Whalers were in the Adams division. So
yeah, you screwed that one up too, smart guy. Yeah. Yeah, Gordie Howe's team and Bobby Hull's team.
Yeah. And Don saying, come on, guys. Buffalo is great. They didn't ruin Jack Eichel's career. No, Jack Eichel ruined his career. So,
pretty much.
All right. So let me pull up Flyers draft picks here.
Jack Eichel's the one that signed the extension, didn't he? There wasn't anybody else that signed his extension except Jack Eichel. So,
yeah,
he could have left Buffalo a long time ago.
He's right. You're right. I mean, that whole thing was just a mess anyway, too. You knew that was not going to end on pleasant terms after he was just – you just look at the look on his face in his press conference like, this dude is dejected. This guy hates being in Buffalo. Oh, my Lord.
So let's look back at some of the first-round picks the Flyers have had the last few years, okay? And we can go back to Nolan Patrick. That didn't work out very well in 2017. Ivan Provorov. He's been pretty good. Can't complain about him. Samuel Morin.
Oh, Moran, who unfortunately retired in this offseason due to injuries. Played maybe 5 games, 10 games for the Flyers.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Sean Couturier, who's been really good for a long time.
Almost wasn't bust until we brought Dave Hackstool here, and then he brought out the best in him. Because Hackstool knows how to coach young players. Huh. Gee, like that works actually or something.
Let's see. Scott Lawton.
Lawton's been solid. I like him as a depth player.
Yeah, but it's a first-round pick, though.
Maybe it was a reach out of the first round. He was more of a third-round player, but you know what? At the end of the day, though, I love Superman. I got no problems with him.
Okay, Travis Konechny, the 24th pick in 2015.
Konechny, of course, all the potential in the world. He just I'm kind of feeling like he does need a change of scenery. If Torts doesn't work, he really does need to go.
Yeah,
sometimes guys like him just need the right coach.
Yeah.
Look at Chris Kreider with Gerard Gallant.
Yeah, I got you.
I mean, Gerard Gallant said, "You're going to stand in front of the damn net this year. If I have to take you and tie you up to the goal,
I will hog tie your ass to the Zamboni and drag you to the front of the net."
Exactly. And what happened? He scores 52 goals, and he scored 8 in the playoffs too. Just to prove that it wasn't, that he didn't, get a lot of goals just against crappy teams. So he did it in the playoffs too. Morgan Frost, who I still think could be a really good player. I think he's got some ability. Just got to see.
He does. He's had some issues here and there, but I think a lot of that is due to the system. I think that's really what's been killing him. It hasn't really necessarily been his.
Morgan Frost should be. I kind of think he's a pretty good player, so we'll see about him.
Yeah.
And here's one. Jay O'Brien.
Unfortunately, have never seen him. So, I mean, yeah, he was in training camp a few times, but he never really made the team. So he didn't really pan out.
Yeah, so they've kind of had a mixed history. They never seem to get a star in the first round.
Well, because we're always picking in the teens, and that's and in the early 20s, because the Flyers again tried to stay competitive in the 2010s, especially, and they never were picking in the top 5 or the top 10. And when they did, they picked Nolan Patrick anyway. Shows you the inexperience that the team has in picking in the top 10. So the thing is that that's a lot of their issue with the mixed history. It was also, I think, that changing programs every 2 years hurts your scouting, because one coach has one set of scouts that he likes, and then another coach has another set of scouts he likes. You get a mishmash of, well, this is what this coach wanted, this is what that coach wanted, this is what this GM wanted, this is what that GM wanted. It's like this whole team is just slapdashed in a lot of ways.
Well, I've got the last 3 first round picks. The second round pick this year, they didn't have a first round pick, and that was Samu Tuomola.
Igor Zamula. He's had a couple of opportunities to play in training camp, and he looked good. And I think he played a couple of games for the Flyers when we were really desperate. And I think the COVID year, we had a real bad outbreak, and he had to hop onto the team along with Sushko, who we don't have no more. And then there was, I think he had to play a few games as well. And they also put him on the team when they knew we were not making the playoffs, and give the kid an opportunity.
Okay, now in 2020, your first 2 picks. So I'm not going to go to the 4th round. I'll just stick with the first 2.
Gotcha.
Tyson Forrester,
who we have not seen on the Flyers at all this year, but he does have a lot of promise to being a great shot on that power play.
Okay, we gotta see him this year.
We do.
Hope he makes the team.
Brian's been harping on that, and I agree with him. We do have to see Forrester.
Okay, and then there's a guy by the name of Emil Andre.
Oh, Emil Andre. Yeah. Okay. Another guy. What's up?
What's going on with him? He's still playing in Sweden?
He was, and then I think he had a brief cup of coffee with the Phantoms. Hopefully he'll have a good training camp. If he has a really good training camp and he shows something, I could see him possibly coming on and having an opportunity with the Flyers coming on this season.
Okay, and in 2019, their first two picks were Cam York and Bobby Brink. See, this is the problem. This is a problem for the Flyers. The last few years they drafted poorly.
No, you're right. I mean, Cam York is probably the best player out of our last handful of picks, out of all the guys that we've picked recently. And Cam York, I think, has earned a spot on the team now. He should be starting on the team next year.
He needs to be starting. I mean, they've struggled. So you could see what the problem is with the Flyers is that they haven't drafted well the last few years. They just haven't, and it's got to improve.
It has to. Yeah.
They've got to have a good draft this year, because you know what, that you can't in hockey. You have to build through the draft. You can't expect to do it. You can't expect to do it with free agency with the salary cap the way it is, and trading is not so easy either. Because if you start trading all your draft choices, your roster ends up aging out, and then you have nobody in the minors. So you got to be real careful about making trades. So, I mean, you have to make hockey trades and not just trade all your draft picks.
No, I know. And that's the biggest problem that the Flyers have had a history of, trading draft picks away, trading future away. I mean, hell, people sometimes forget Flyers had Patrick Sharp when he first came into the league. We had Justin Williams when he first came into the league. We had Dennis Seidenberg when he first came into the league.
I remember all those guys.
Yeah, we traded all of them away for veteran players.
I mean, if you remember in the 80s when the Flyers had some real good teams,
Okay.
Yeah.
And they did a great job building that team. They picked up Zezel, Prop, and and then they got Mark Howe from Hartford.
Yeah.
And who else? Who else did they get?
They had
They had some real nice players on those teams.
Sinisalo. They had. I mean, they drafted Lenberg, who would have been great. Unfortunately, he died. But then they also drafted Hextall, who wound up being another great goaltender. So that wound up.
And don't forget Rick Tocchet.
Tocchet.
You take a look in the 80s. They built their team through the draft.
And that's why I always bring that up. The last time the Flyers ever built a team through the draft, it was the 80s. And look at what that team did in the 80s.
I mean, they took one of the best teams ever put together, that Edmonton Oiler team. They took them to 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yep. And that's why when people talk about how 97 was the year of the Flyer, that was the best team the Flyers had that didn't win the Cup, I disagree. It was not 97. Yes, 97 was probably their best shot to win a third Cup because the Red Wings were on a downturn in terms of choking and it seemed like the Flyers could take advantage of that. But it was actually the 87 team that took that Oilers team to 7.
The 87 team was the team they had. I mean, you think about it, okay? They had Messier in his prime, Curry in his prime, Gretzky in his prime, Paul Coffey in his prime, Grant Fuhr in his prime. Jeez, I mean, the fact that they were able to take those guys, it was just remarkable.
Yeah. Funny enough, too, the game-winning goal scored by one of the players that really did nothing on the Flyers, and that was J.J. Daniel. But, they went back to Montreal.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah. But all the same, though, that was their best team they had that did not win the Cup. It wasn't 97, it was 87. It was 10 years prior.
I would agree because that was they had the team then. Listen, they've got to get back to that, and regardless of where they finish in the standings, they've just got to draft better.
You're right, and I broke it down earlier on that ever since the 90s, ever since when they decided to hotshot it when they got Eric Lindros, they've always tried to hotshot their way into being competitive. They never wanted to take their time to build the team because after they
got lucky, they got lucky with the trade for John LeClair. Okay?
Yes,
Canadians, the Canadians, they stole them they fleeced the Canadians on that trade.
Pretty much.
Yeah. No, there's no question about that, when they draft, and they also drafted Rod Brind'Amour.
Actually, no, they didn't draft Rod Brind'Amour, but they got him in a trade.
No, he was with St. Louis.
But it was so early in his career that it was practically the case, because I think he only spent like 1 or 2 years there.
That kid Ricci, who was really good too for a while, and
they traded him.
Anaheim, but the whole point here is they drafted all these guys.
Yeah.
These guys were on the team and they were really good. I mean, every year they were really good. I don't understand why they keep trying the free agent pot all the time and not doing what the Rangers have done.
It's that broken philosophy that they have been following for so long. Like I said, ever since they hotshotted their way back into being a competitive team, when they traded and got Lindros, forgetting that Lindros was a game-changing player, which he absolutely was. It's like they forgot. It's like, well, yeah, but you don't have Eric Lindros. And then you don't have Renberg right next to him that he can elevate. And then you don't have Leclerc, who turned out to be one of the best players the Flyers ever had. And you don't have Eric Desjardins sitting in the back to help the defense out. And did that team win anything? No. They got to the Cup in 97. Their goaltending absolutely imploded, and they themselves got shut down by a strong defensive unit that the Red Wings had. So, again, it's like the philosophy only ever got you to the finals. You didn't win anything. And then on top of it as well, in the early 2000s, you tried to piecemeal teams together from a bunch of older players that maybe had something left in the tank. It's like, how long can you keep that going? You can't keep that going forever. The Rangers tried that, too, in the early 2000s, and it didn't work.
No,
they went.
No, it never works. That's the problem.
So, again, it's one of those things of why do you do this? Like, why do you constantly shoot yourself in the foot? Do what the Rangers did in this case. It's like the Rangers did the smart thing and realizing we're not good enough. We need to get younger. We need to get better, and that's what they did.
Just making the playoffs isn't good enough. We might as well just reboot.
Yes,
and they had what, like 10 or 11 first round picks in 4 years, and some of the guys were busts. Not all of them were good, but the thing is, when you get all those picks, you get more bites at the apple, and the more bites at the apple you get, the better a chance that you're going to have of getting somebody who's really good.
You're right.
It's the process of elimination. And then they're able to get Adam Fox, by using a couple of two second round picks. It's stuff like that, and it's players like that really get you where you got to go. That's the name of the game.
Yeah. You got to have a strong core. You got to lay that foundation in the core, and that's the core that you're not moving from. And if that core is proven that they can do what they got to do and get the job done, and that they have developed into a phenomenal all-star caliber player, then you've got your core, and that's set, and that structure's there. Look at what Tampa has. Tampa's not changing that core. They're not getting rid of Hedman. They're not getting rid of Stamkos. They're not getting rid of several players. They're not getting rid of Kucherov. Those are core players.
They did trade McDonough, though.
They traded McDonough, but that's okay. I'm sure they'll figure out something to make that work. It's
McDonough was heartbroken, from what I understand.
I could understand why he was heartbroken. I mean, McDonough was on that team for a long time, and he had won 2 cups with them. That's tough to be traded away from a situation like that. It's a hard thing to swallow when you're traded away. But again, I think a lot of that's cap acrobatics that the Lightning are pulling here to make something.
Yeah, work. Well, because he's no youngster, and he makes a lot of money.
Yeah,
and so that's Swopey again. You're right about the Penguins' work, considering moving, and so
Mario
took over the team, and the reason Mario took over the team is because the team owed him $42 million on his contract, and they reneged because they were filing for bankruptcy. And Lemieux decided, okay, just give me the team, and the rest is history. That's how he went to own the team. So,
and the funny part is, he wound up becoming a player / owner because he wound up coming back in like 2002 to play for the Penguins.
Yes, but his back was just too messed up for him to be any good at that point.
Yeah, I mean, they were still very reliant on Jagr.
Yes. Oh, Jagr was a terrific player back then.
Then they traded him to Washington, mostly because I think him and Lemieux had a disagreement over money. Jagr, so I think Lemieux realized that the Penguins kind of need to start, drafting. And Yags pretty much said, well, I want this much money. And Lemieux's like, well, I can't give you that. And he's like, well, all right, then I guess I'm going somewhere where I can get that money. He's like, all right, you're going to Washington. Okay, bye.
Yeah, and then Washington traded him to the Rangers for Anson Carter.
I laughed my ass off when I saw that trade, and I realized, so let me get this straight. Anson Carter, the Rangers say, hey, we got this guy Anson Carter. Can we send him to you guys for, say, Jaromir Jagr? Like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, really? You're serious? You're okay with this deal? You're fine? You're not?
Yeah, are you okay? And we don't have to give you a first-round pick or anything.
You all right? Everything's good? Like, yeah, everything's fine. We want Anson Carter on the team. I mean, have you seen those dreads? Those are awesome. Like, all right, he's yours. Have fun, guys. We'll take Jagr. Sure enough.
Meanwhile, and then Jagr brought all his friends with him.
Yep. And he, of course, went on to become the captain of the Rangers.
Right. and he brought Marty Straka and a few other guys who, by the way, were very good with that team. That was a pretty good team.
That was.
That was a pretty good team for a while there.
That was a rebirth for the Rangers, although they still had, I mean, they did have a up-and-coming goaltender at that time. Might have heard of him. His name was Henrik Lundqvist.
Yes. That helped. Connor also scored 55 goals for them, too.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, I was like, well, I mean, when you look right back on it, it's just one of those things of, you look back on some of those deals and you're like, man, makes you wonder how organizations are still alive and are still breathing today with stupid decisions like that.
Yeah, why would you do that?
And listen, I don't have a problem with Anson Carter. I love his analyzing. And when
Carter was a pretty good player. He was between a 20 and a 30 goal scorer, and he was a hard-nosed player, and he was very reliable and good penalty killer. He'd score some goals. He was like a second, third line player, but I mean, but he's never a guy that was going to score 50 goals.
Yeah, he wasn't a Yager level type of player. You don't trade. Oh my God. So, I mean, hey, at least the Rangers found an organization that was dumb enough to.
Yeah, back then.
Yeah.
But getting back to the Flyers and getting back to the point that what they've got to do is they need to be smart.
Yeah.
Start drafting smart. When you make trades, stop giving away draft picks. Start making hockey trades. Make the salaries match, but start making hockey trades. If you want to get rid of guys, give up a draft choice to get rid of somebody. And you know who I'm talking about, JVR, maybe?
Oh yeah,
$7 million.
Yeah, that was a bad signing.
But if you put a second round pick with them, somebody's going to take them.
Well, now he's on the last year of his contract, so yeah, he's definitely should be traded come the trade deadline. If he's not, I'm going to be real furious.
You don't think they're going to try to buy him out?
There's no need to. He's only got 1 year left. You know what I mean? So it's like that'd probably be more tempting for a team to say, yeah, it's 1 year. How long's it going to be? Just a few months? It's not the end of the world.
That's true. Well, the Rangers bought out, what's his name? Tony DeAngelo.
Okay, that's true. Although I think Tony DeAngelo had a little bit more of a situation, though.
Have you heard now? Carolina wants to get rid of him.
Oh my God! After he had gone through all that, and it seemed like he was having a resurgence. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, well, I just read that he's a restricted free agent again, and they offered him a salary that he considered insulting, and then they said, "Okay, well, I'll tell you what, you find yourself a trade, and we'll trade you."
Oh, I love it. So he got so mad that they lowballed him, even though they probably gave him the exact value.
Yeah, they gave him. They lowballed him, and instead of just negotiating like a normal human being, he went berserk. And now they're going to probably trade him.
Okay, Arizona. Welcome, Tony DeAngelo. He's on his way, buddy.
He was there to start.
Yeah, that's true. He's going back.
What a great circle. He goes from Arizona to the Rangers, then to Carolina. So he's steadily going upwards.
And then goes.
And he has a very, very good playoff, by the way.
Yes.
And, and then gets greedy and could God only knows where he's going to end up now.
He's either going to wind up in Arizona or friggin' Seattle.
I'm just trying to think of a team who likes to pick up garbage all the time.
Buffalo.
Yeah, the garbage collectors. There's one other. I'm trying to think who would be typical to try to get him. Toronto,
but let's not forget.
Yeah, the Blackhawks.
The Flyers. No.
Flyers, the Blackhawks.
Yeah, Blackhawks as well.
Blackhawks always want to try to get somebody. Always think that they're going to get somebody and turn them around. Or the Kings. The Kings are. The Kings are. Every time there's a trade, the Kings are always in the middle of it.
Or the Sharks too. The Sharks have a habit of making shitty trades as well.
Yeah. We'll see but it's amazing. I read that. I literally almost dropped my phone when I was reading it. I was like, "What?" Were you
dropping it out of shock or laughter?
No, laughter. As a Ranger fan, it's just a laughter because it's like, can't you get along with anybody?
Apparently not. Apparently he's a walking middle finger. Apparently,
he hates everybody. And yeah, the guy's a good player too.
He is. He has all the talent in the world. It's just, man, he just loves to piss people off.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it was. I mean, I remembered when he got into that fight with Georgiev.
Yeah.
And then Kreider ended up decking him after he beat up Georgiev. It was like I'm fine. I find all this out. I was like, oh, if Kreider beat him up, then he's gone. They're going to get rid of him because Kreider is the even though he's not the captain of the team, he's kind of like the captain of the team.
And he's usually the stalwart. He's usually not the type of guy to do things.
He gets into fights on the ice once in a while, and he's a big, strong guy. You know how strong he is. He stands in front of him, but he's not really going out there trying to fight anybody. And D'Angelo's half his size. So what do you think happened?
Yeah, of course. You're like, oh, you think you're tough? All right, bro, let's go.
And we're not either. I'm just going to get you in a headlock and throw you down.
That's just
you can't spin me around.
I'll be honest with you. When that dysfunction was going on in the Rangers locker room, I will tell you right now, I was laughing so hard. I was like, oh my God, the Rangers are falling the fuck apart. But then, of course, I say that now, and then look at what happened 3-4 months later.
They get rid of him. They get rid of him, and then all of a sudden, Adam Fox is on the team. And it's like, oh, geez, okay, well, okay, that fixes that. That I guess they don't need an offensive defenseman like D'Angelo.
Right. Dylan's saying, I have to remember the Flames drafted Tyler Witherspoon. Ooh, yeah, he didn't pan out at all.
and Tampa Bay.
Yeah, then right behind was Nikita. Yeah, that was not the best of draft choices from the Flames that year.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like the year that the Islanders drafted Bossy. The Rangers had the pick before them, and they drafted Lucien Devereaux.
Oh my Lord!
Yep. So yeah. Well, the year Mike Trout got drafted by the Angels, the Yankees were right behind the Angels.
Of course.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not?
The Yankees wanted him because he was from New Jersey and he was a local kid.
Funny enough, though, that's exactly the reason why everybody in this area wants him as well. But well, of course, he doesn't go because, But the funny part is, too, is that he loves playing out on the West Coast and he wouldn't want to come to Philadelphia. I'm sure he probably wouldn't even really want to go to the New York if he really likes playing out there on the West Coast, honestly. It's like...
from what I understand, he likes playing out there.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't blame him. Go to the high-pressure BS of the Phillies or go to the high-pressure situation of the Yankees or the Mets. Probably the Yankees over the Mets because... Probably the Yankees will overpay the Mets any day of the week. So,
Well, I'll tell you what, the Yankees tonight, they got their butts handed to them by the Pirates. Like, yikes.
So right now you're just not. If you could, you'd have like a good a few shots in your hand just now. It's just like, you know what? I don't know why I'm fucking rooting for this team right now.
Listen, the Pirates played. The Pirates hit the ball tonight, and the Yankees didn't. So
okay.
It happens. So the Yankees have actually now they've now lost 2 in. Oh God, the world is coming to an end.
Oh, they've lost 2 in a row.
They lost 2 in a row,
and the world comes to an end.
Yeah, now they're only 35 games over 500.
Oh my God! Let the sky fall. Meanwhile,
they're only 13 games ahead of the Red Sox now instead of 14 games ahead.
I mean, I understand. You when you find out that you lost the game, when you go a game back on the Red Sox, it is like Armageddon has officially come upon the world.
Yeah, well, I mean, although Quintana was pitching today, and Quintana is a pretty good veteran pitcher, so you can sort of see how they wouldn't score a lot of runs tonight, but Jesus Christ, come on.
Meanwhile, down here in South Jersey, the Phillies are absolutely annihilating, just eating the Nationals up 11-0. at the top of the 9th. So it's like, Jesus.
Nice.
Whew. So, I mean, right now.
We know what the Nationals are. But give the Phillies a lot of credit, though. For losing their best player, they are stepping up right now.
Yeah.
I pretty much blew off with when Harper got hurt, but they haven't given up. So
yeah, that's true. I mean, and it's exceptional in Phillies history because usually if you lose your best player, the normal Philadelphia habit is to roll over and die. But not right now.
Yeah, well, it isn't August yet.
No, you're right. It's still. I mean, the All-Star game is when?
What, the 14th or something like that, or the 15th?
Yeah.
17th?
So we're almost at the halfway point here. We're about way there, So,
yeah.
But let's see here. Upstart Winger saying we drafted Dmitry Yushkovich. So, yeah.
I remember him. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that too. Swoopy saying it's more than just drafting with the Flyers, it's development too. They'll have players not far behind and on the cusp of being ready for the NHL, then sign vets like Kevin Hayes or JVR at a position they have top prospect and not far behind. It'll then block those players from being able to play and hinder them. If they're called up, it won't be because they're wanted, but they'll be a fill-in and be forced to play out of position. And yes, you don't want that. You definitely don't want that, which is why I was so against signing Kevin Hayes to that contract in the first place. And also the fact we just got done with the Andrew McDonald deal that was absolutely horrible. So now it's just like, oh my God, could we please stop with these big fucking contracts? No more.
Well, that's why the Rangers got rid of Buchnevich.
Because of his contract. Yeah.
Because they didn't want to pay him, and they had just drafted Lafreniere, and they had just drafted Capo Caco.
Yeah.
And Lafreniere at the age of 20 scores 19 goals.
So why not? Yeah.
Yeah, it would be nice to have. It would have been nice to have him last year in the playoffs. But you know what? As long as there's a salary cap, and if you're drafting young players and you have young players in there to replace him, that's a guy that gets moved along. And that's kind of what you have to do when your players age out and they're past their primes. You can't keep paying them. It's time you got to know when to get rid of them and bring the next good player in. And they seem to be stubborn and want to bring in free agents instead, which sometimes that works, but the majority of times it doesn't.
No, I hear you on that one, and the problem, and again, putting that Band-Aid over the issue, it's just like, if your team is in that position of they can't stay competitive and they can't stay consistent, sometimes you just got to hit that reset button and do what you got to do. You know what I mean?
Sometimes you got to blow it up. I mean,
yeah.
That's the thing. If you get yourself in a position where you can have like 2 or 3 first-round picks for a couple of years in a row,
yeah,
right? That's how you get good.
And you could cement that core that we were talking about earlier.
Exactly. Exactly. It may take a couple. Listen, you may have a couple of tough years,
of course,
ahead of you, but you get these young guys in there, and as I said, you get the more bites of the apple that you get, the better of a chance that you're good. That one of them is going to become a big star.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, that's why the whole idea of signing these long contracts to veteran players, it's like, why? You hurt the team more than anything. It's like, guys, it's very simple, straightforward here. You just need to be bad, and then you'll get those really great players, and things will start to work itself in. You'll get that new generation.
If you trade your veterans for young players, you know how the Rangers got Mika Zibanejad? Do you know who they traded for him?
Oh, hold on. Was it Derek Brassard?
Yes.
That's right.
Brassard. And they got Mika Zibanejad and a second-round pick for him.
Yeah.
Now, the second-round pick didn't turn up. I think it was Robin Koufax, and he never made it. But Mika Zibanejad for Derek Brassard. I mean, jeez.
That's a steal by today's,
Yeah, that was a complete fleece. And then bringing in a guy, having a Ryan Spooner on your team, and then trading him for Ryan Strome. That was pretty much a steal too.
Yeah, no, I agree. They were all intelligent, smart choices and smart trades.
Yeah, and then they send Kevin Hayes to Winnipeg, okay, and then they go and they for a first round pick, and then they trade the first round pick back to Winnipeg and bring in Jacob Trouba, who's only 25 years old. So if you're going to get guys, okay, and you're going to give up first round picks or even draft picks, get young guys.
Yes, talent that can be turned into something.
Yeah, 23. If you're going to give up for like a 23 or 24-year-old player, hey, I'm all for that. Like if the Rangers had a first-round draft pick to give up for JT Miller or Dubois, okay, or Sheffield, okay, I'd do that in a second. Okay, because they're not over 30 years. None of them are 30 years old. I think you're talking about 20, 24, 27, and 29.
Yeah, they're still in the prime, or they're still developing into the prime,
Shifley, I think, is 29, and Miller's 27. I believe Dubois is 24.
Yeah, I gotcha.
But these are the kind of guys you've got to sign. Signing guys that as free agents when they're 29, 30 years old, they'll have a good the first couple of years they're going to be good, but they won't necessarily fit in with the younger guys. If you're building a team of younger guys, you got to make trades to bring in younger players.
Yep.
And they just have been either, I don't know if it's unwilling or unable to do that. Probably unwilling.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's more what it is. It's unwilling. And it's just frustrating to watch a team, kind of water themselves down because they're just so mesmerized by, we could have this player on the team. It's like, that's not what.
Yeah, it always sounds good. It always sounds good on paper.
Yep.
And it never seems to work.
And it just goes back to that old philosophy of BS, if we get this player, then we'll be one piece away and we're good to go. Like, no, because you have a young goaltender that's still working on his development. And then on top of it as well, you have several young players on this team. A couple of them have gotten stuck in neutral, which is the worst thing that could happen. And some regressed. And it's like, you need to start looking at your future. You need to start thinking in 3-4 years instead of next year. People talk about how is next year are we going to get back to the playoffs? Like, I don't care. I don't want to get back to the playoffs next year. I want us to start looking at 3-4 years down the line from now, where are we going to be? Because in 3-4 years down the line from now, if Carter Hart is if he's halfway decent and this team still is shit in front of him, he may very well just say fucking and leave. And then he goes on and has
that's the whole problem.
Yeah.
I think he's in his third year now, right?
Yeah.
So he's a restricted free agent after this season, correct?
No. Actually, I'm sorry.
Did he get paid already?
He got a little bit paid. He got a 3-year deal. He didn't get like a massive contract.
Okay.
And the only reason why is because of the pandemic season where he didn't look all that good. But I think a lot of that was, again, due to the fact that the team itself was shit. I mean, when your team is shit, everything's going to be shit real fast. And
Absolutely.
And so, unfortunately, it gets to the point of, okay, so what's it going to take for you guys to wake up? Are you going to waste Carter Hart's time here? And then he's just, after the 3-year deal's up, which will be on his second of that 3-year deal, and he realizes, like, well, this team ain't fucking getting any better. Like, this team's still making the same stupid mistakes. I'm going to go someplace else that are going to actually, allow me to be able to do my, play my ability and put something in front of me that's solid enough to where I can work with that. I can't work with what I got here. And I don't blame him. I really don't blame the kid.
We have a comment from Upstart Winger, by the way.
They say, yeah.
If McDonough traded for Phil Myers, he won't play more than 5 games for the Preds. Friend.
Yeah, since Phil Myers only did play 5 games for him, and Ellis only played like 4 games for us. And then that was a 3-way deal, too. Nolan Patrick went to Vegas through that. Nolan Patrick played about 10 games and got hurt. So
okay,
that was a failed trade all around.
Okay, I didn't get it. So
every single player in that deal, all 3 of them, absolutely failed in their new team. And let's see, Swoop saying Flyers will have to top prospects on the verge of breaking through, then go sign a vet at the position to a long-term deal. They need to stop signing veterans to long-term contracts to fill that spot. Only sign vets if they're currently lacking at that position in the prospect pool. But don't sign vets to a 7-year, $50 million deal if they have a top prospect on the verge of being ready for the NHL. A team needs vets. But if they have prospects on the verge of making the NHL, don't sign vets to long-term contracts. I agree.
That's exactly the situation. Unless the veterans are stars. If they're guys that are in their prime and stars. And again, I'm going to go back to the Rangers, Zibanejad, Adam Fox, Kreider.
Yeah.
You know, they signed all these guys for long-term deals, but they're great players. You know, that's the thing. They're guys who those are guys who move the needle. If you get a guy it's not going to move the needle, there's no point in paying him.
No, you're right. There's no point. There is no point. And he goes on to say, look at what happened with Colorado. The goalie they brought in was horrible during his career before this year, but he goes to Colorado and wins a cup. Why? Because what's in front of the goalie matters. True. That defense absolutely. In Colorado? Yes, absolutely.
Well, yeah, he was playing for Arizona last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, Kemper was in a real shit situation. Yeah, Kemper showed something, though, in the bubble because he single-handedly won a game, ironically, against Colorado. Maybe that's what wound up sowing the seeds of him eventually going there. But still.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe Colorado just liked what they saw in him. Because when they got him with Francois, I thought Francois was going to end up being the number 1 goalie. I was like in denial. I was like, "There's no way." Yeah. Piece of crap from the Arizona Coyotes. You got to be kidding me? No way, right? But
yeah. Oh, hi Dan, saying draftees into Philadelphia. Rest in peace, career. I know they said the same thing about Vancouver in the West.
Yeah. By the way, Vancouver finally signed Besser. By the way.
Oh, that took a while.
If they waited another week, he would have been gone.
I tell you though, Besser was probably trolling him. If anything, it's like, nah. I bet you, like, I would love to know if a player he gets like $5.7 million or something, and he gets to the end of the figure, and it's got like no change to it, and he says like, I want 1 more penny. And if you can't go a penny higher, then I'm not coming to the team, just to be a dick to the other team.
Like Kevin Durant.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So let me see here. Just to run through the Flyers picks, then we'll go to around the league and then the shootout segment. So the Flyers obviously have their number 1 pick. They will have a second-round pick. I'm sorry, they won't have a second-round pick because they traded that to Arizona in the acquisition of Shane Gostisbehere as well for Arizona. In exchange, the Flyers got a 2022 In exchange, the Flyers got... Oh, they also gave their 7th-round pick to them. That's right. I forgot. We traded him for nothing. So, yeah, we gave Arizona all that just to get rid of Shane Gostisbehere. So,
oh, you mean kind of like when the Rangers gave up Mark Stahl to Detroit and they gave them a 2nd-round pick to take him?
Yep. That was pretty much what it was.
Oh,
well, the funny part is, though, is that people all of a sudden are saying, man, Shane Gostisbehere looks really good in Arizona. It's, yes, because he's playing every fucking day. He was a scratch on the Flyers. So, of course, he's playing.
Every time he made a mistake, he got benched.
Yes.
and it's also, but remember now, it's also not easy to play in Philadelphia.
No, you're
right. Not very. The fans are just a little impatient here.
No,
Yeah,
Philadelphia fans impatient.
they're just a little impatient. You know, it's kind of like as I said last week. You know, Boston, Philly, and New York. You know, we're not nice fans.
We're hard on our players.
We were. How many players have us fans ruined over the years?
Well, let's see here.
We can go all night with how many we've probably ruined.
The first name that funny enough came to mind was Carson Wentz, but there was no, because I don't think he did anything when he went to Indianapolis anyway. So.
No, he didn't.
So that's a bad example, but
no, my favorite was Eddie Whitson. Back in the early '80s, the Yankees signed this guy Eddie Whitson, right?
Okay.
From San Diego, won 20 games, so the Yankees signed him. Comes to the Yankees, can't get anybody out. Okay. Traded back to San Diego. The next season, he wins 20 games in San Diego.
Oh my God. Was he happy not to be in New York no more? I couldn't tell.
How many times do you see that, though?
Oh my God.
In our three cities, it always seems to happen.
Oh my God, it does. It really, really does. It is just amazing. The most recent example for the Flyers is Ellis. So,
they'll trade him and he'll be perfectly healthy.
Oh, yeah. They trade him back to Nashville, and he'll lead Nashville back into the playoffs and get him out of the first round this time.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see here. The Flyers also have their third-round pick. They have their fourth round, their fifth round, the sixth round. Now, they do say here that they have their seventh round. However, though, said they traded that pick, so I don't think they do. So with that, the Flyers have all their picks with the exception of a seventh and a second round. So be interesting to see what they roll with in terms of that because they only have one pick per each round. We'll see if maybe they get froggy and decide to trade one of those picks. I hope they don't because I'd rather just see them get young players in and try to develop them better than they've tried in the past.
Well, if they decide to trade back, don't do what the Knicks did.
Right?
Okay. And completely not have a pick in the first round because I got to tell you that now obviously it ended up okay because they went and used they saved salary money and they went and got Jalen Brunson. Okay, but you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Brian wants to know why he likes Braden Schneider so much. Okay, Braden Schneider is a young kid. He can beat the hell out of people, and he's got a lot of ability, and he hits everything that moves. So if you like any one of those kind of guys, then I can take a guess. It's got to be one of those reasons.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for the second period, which was just Flyers' possible draft picks. We also did a rundown of the history of the most recent Flyers first-round picks, which kind of colorful. Not exactly the greatest class, you could say, in the world.
Hopefully, things are going to change if you're a Flyer fan. Now, being a Ranger fan, inside I'm kind of laughing, but I don't mean it though. I just can't help myself. It's just.
Well, I mean, I would expect nothing else. I'm sure a side of you also hopes that's business as usual.
I'm not laughing at you on the outside, but in the inside, I'm just laughing because I say, "Oh my God."
Yeah, I know, right?
How is it that freaking bad?
Like again, the revolving door of bullshit. That's what it is.
You couldn't get one good player out of all those drafts.
Only two. One from Paul Holmgren, which was Sean Couturier, and then the other one is Cam York. And really, we have to see what happens. What's up?
How did you get Juri?
Oh, Juri, we got him in 2005. Well, we got him in 2000.
That's why I'm asking because I don't know.
Yes, it was in that draft. Yeah, we picked him there. And he wound up on the team. Yeah. Yeah, that's how we got Juri. He came in the same draft as Crosby. So that one
pretty good though.
Yeah, we made out well on that one with Juri. I mean, that was like in '99. We made out well when we got Gagne. Although our first ever our first pick in that year's draft was fucking Maxime Alouette, who wound up playing one fucking game for the Flyers and was absolute garbage in goal.
You know what though? The 1999 draft is pretty much known as the worst draft in NHL history. So
that is a very good point, actually. And then on top of it as well, we did get Bush out of that, but unfortunately we traded him away right when he was about to hit his stride too, which is just like, that also boils my blood too. It's just like, goddamn, we could have had the goaltending problem solved right the fuck there, because Bush actually was a pretty damn good goalie back in the day.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Oh well. That's the Flyers for you. We've decided to double down on Roman Czechmanic. Brilliant decision. Oh, man.
Who was that other guy? Dominic, what the heck? Dominic, what was his last name? Was it Roussel?
Oh, Roussel. Yeah, Dominic Roussel. And then the Flyers also went and grabbed Esch because they figured, you know what, Esch can be the backup to Czechmanic, and they thought Czechmanic would last a while. And then Czechmanic decided to take his ball and go back to Europe, and they were like, oh, shit. Robert Esch is our starting goaltender now.
I guess who's playing in the Stanley Cup Finals as your goalie? No, the semifinals. That's right, against Tampa Bay.
No, Eastern Conference Finals.
Huh?
Eastern Conference Finals.
It was the Eastern Conference. I thought it was it was the Eastern Conference Finals. He was the starting goalie in Game 7 against Tampa Bay.
Esch.
Hey, won the cup.
Yep. And then guess who's playing against him? Only a guy who's having a career year and a pretty damn solid goaltender, Nikolai Khabibulin.
Khabibulin, the bowling wall.
Yeah. Oh, that's a guy I actually wish was on the Flyers just because of his name. I always thought he had the coolest fucking name in the world.
He did. And they would have loved him here.
Yes, they would have.
They would have loved him.
All right. So let's see here. We'll go around the league here, third period, and our third period sponsor is, besides BetUS, there is another sponsor we've got that you can go into to make yourself some quick cash if you need to, and that is FanUp. FanUp is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports. They had daily NBA contests during the season. They'll have it back once again when the season rolls back around. They have MLB contests as well, and plenty more. And then obviously, like I said, soccer, if you feel like taking a look around, maybe you can make a little quick cash on the side just in case. But then, tying all that through, when the seasons get going again for the NFL and the NHL and then the NBA is going again, there'll be plenty of money to win. So you can win great prizes if you sign up today and use the promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points at a $50 value. All you got to do is go to fanup.app, and then you get yourself a little bit of that quick cash. Oh, and also become an A2D member. It's only $9.99 a month. Perks include appearances on shows, members-only streams, shout-outs, and weekly sports picks from the Money Pot Podcast in Willie Vegas. You can take all the knowledge that they give you and use it for FanUp and BetUS and get yourself paid to be an A2D member. All right. Now we go around the league, talk about some of our topics that have hit the news. Obviously, the Ryan McDonough trade, one of the bigger ones. McDonough getting traded to the Predators in exchange for Phil Myers, who got flipped after last year getting traded by the Flyers to the Predators. And then, I don't imagine him. I think he's on the last year of his deal. So I can't imagine Tampa really doing anything with him. So this will probably be, if he plays any games for the Lightning, it'll probably be his last two around the league. But
that was clearly a money trade.
Clearly.
Yeah, they want to pick up somebody in free agency who will probably be a major good player that's old but good.
And a little cheaper.
Yeah. I mean, McDonough is probably making around $6.5 million, I'm sure. Something in that area. Because when they got him, when the Rangers too pitifully traded him and JT Miller for a bunch of crap back in when was it, 2018? That was one of their bad trades. One of their bad trades, by the way.
That was
Brett Howden and a bunch of other garbage for and they gave up on Miller and McDonough. And you know where they gave away Miller because Alain Vigneault didn't like the way he played defense. Alain Vigneault, of all people, didn't like his defense.
because he said he didn't play any defense.
Vigneault. Boy, that's rich coming from a guy who doesn't know a damn thing about defense, but okay.
Hey,
Rich.
You know.
By the way, Dan, this is not beer. This is Mountain Dew.
that would be the cold edition of coffee.
Yes, pretty much.
Yes.
When literally, because since I have a weird work schedule, I only woke up about a couple hours ago. So you need to wake up, pick me up every morning.
There you go.
Oh, gotta love overnights. Anyway,
by the way, Kevin Fiala also traded.
Oh yeah, Kevin Fiala traded.
Not about him.
Yes, Kevin Fiala was traded to.
Where was he traded?
Was it LA? No, I don't think it was LA. Who did he go to?
Anaheim?
Might have been. Let me double check that.
Was it Anaheim or the Sharks?
No, it wasn't the Sharks.
Had to be Anaheim then.
Kevin Fiala, he got traded to. Where did he get traded to? Kevin Fiala. Oh, okay, yeah, it was the Kings. I was right the first time. So the Kings got Kevin Fiala from Minnesota, which is good for them. They need the help. So that's LA getting themselves spruced up a little bit more.
Yep, Kevin Fiala's a nice player. Always liked him. Don't understand why they so badly wanted to trade him, but must be a money thing.
I guess Minnesota is interesting because I feel like they're in a weird spot because they got some young talent, but at the same time they also do have some veterans that they rely on. In a weird place right now, Minnesota is. It's like it's not so much that they're transitioning to becoming a young team. It's more like they're just trying to see if they can bridge the gap.
They got old players with young players.
Yeah, so they got an interesting.
Zuccarello plays with Kiprasov. Okay.
Yeah.
So Matt Zuccarello is what, 33, 34, 35 at this point of his career?
Yeah, about that. You know?
I mean, I know he had a great year. Listen, he had a great year this year, but
he did.
I mean, how much longer can he do that again?
I don't know. I mean, it's the same thing with Hartman. Ryan Hartman had a great year, but then I always pointed out, like, well, what line is he on? And he's on the same line as Kaprizov. Right. So I'm like, okay, well, come on now. What do you expect? Of course.
When Ryan Hartman become a good player? Can you just tell me when that happened?
It happened the moment he went to Minnesota because he's playing on the same line as Kirill Kaprizov. It elevated his game. That's what great players do.
Yeah, it's kind of like Strome and Panarin.
Yeah, and the same thing with back in the day, Tyler Kennedy playing with Crosby. And then he goes to San Jose and he's shit. I'm like, well, yeah, he played on the same line as fucking Crosby. What the fuck else did you expect?
Oh. Yeah, or Kovalev, or Alexei Kovalev with the Rangers. Well, why can't he score 40 goals? And then he gets traded to Pittsburgh for I can't remember who they got Peter Nedved. That's right. And Kovalev ends up scoring 40. That's like, well, he's playing with Yager and Lemieux. What did you think was going to happen?
Yes, of course. If he didn't score that many goals, the Lemieux and Yager would kick him off the line. What the hell?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man. But let's see here. Dan, like, oh, I thought you were a man. No, I'm a man-child. Get it right, Dan. There's a difference.
There you go.
And Dan say, talk about the Russian goalie getting arrested.
Oh yeah, the Russian goalie got arrested.
Yeah.
By the way, no, I'm kidding. No, but he got arrested because he had one more year to go with his commitment to the Red Army, and he was trying to skip out on it.
Yeah, you can't do that.
He wasn't on the way with it if he didn't go back to Russia.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if he snuck out. Why the hell did he try to sneak back in again?
I don't know, man.
I mean,
that's a very good question.
He needed to get something from Russia. He couldn't call his family and ask them to send it FedEx or something.
Yeah, like just mail it to you. I used the website to pay for a Metallica CD from freaking Russia. Like, if I can do that, you could go and ask one of your family members to freaking go get you.
You ever hear of Venmo or something? I mean,
Yeah. Like, what the hell? Like, seriously.
Why did he go back to Russia?
I don't know.
One of the dumbest things I heard that he's going to be in trouble if he goes back to Russia, and then he goes back to Russia.
What's funny is too, it's like listen, I know they're not the Soviet Union anymore, but the army is still the army. If you go AWOL, that's still a serious fucking offense.
And you can't blame the Russians for getting. Any country would get. If you did that in the United States, you get arrested.
Yes, you get arrested for freaking desertion, like going AWOL. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, don't blame Russia for this one, everybody. Okay, any country, if you avoid the army of any country that you're from, when you have a commitment with them, what do you think is going to happen?
Yes, but I don't know. Like, I mean, it wasn't like I said, it wasn't like back in the day when the Red Army team was the Red Army team, and they just were indefinitely serving in the Soviet Red Army, and then their commanders just wouldn't let them go. That was a whole different ballgame, you know. Like
at this point, they're committed. It's like the United States. When you sign to go into the Navy, it's whatever the commitment is on your paper. You have to keep. Like, you can't just leave or you get arrested.
that was a very, very weird, stupid move.
Yeah.
And now he's probably going to sit in the brig now for it. So I hope you love a Russian gulag, bud, because you went from being an NHL player to now sitting in a gulag. Good job.
Yeah.
Real brilliant decision on your part.
Well, maybe he can be roommates with the girl that's from the WNBA.
Maybe.
You might be able to get him some hash oil, you know.
Yeah, maybe. Could probably get a real good deal.
Probably not. Shouldn't have gone there. That was nice.
What? Cigarettes can buy you almost anything.
Yeah. You're right.
Oh man, let's see here. So, Swoopy saying the Kings always have fantastic drafts. They seem to always steal the show. It's because the Kings are smart enough to know. I mean, ever since they realized they need to start building through the draft. What?
They've been good at drafting since 2005.
Yeah. They've gotten players like Dustin Brown, even though he fell off. I mean, he was great for them for a period of time. Anze Kopitar, Drew Doughty.
Quick.
What's up?
Quick.
I mean, yeah, obviously Johnny Quick, you know.
Jake Muzzin.
Jake Muzzin, Tyler Toffoli, you know. Yeah. I mean, like, they were killing it, you know. Yeah. Slava Voynov would have been great had he not decided to beat his girlfriend up, you know. That would have, you know, he could have been a great player.
Yeah, that was a bad decision.
That was. But I wanted to say Rob Scuderi, but I'd be wrong because Scuderi did play for the Penguins before he went to LA. But anyway. But yeah, I mean, that team, and then they made great trades on top of it. They went and grabbed Mike Richards from the Flyers, and then when he still had something left in the tank. No, they didn't. They didn't get Carter. They got Carter from they got him from Columbus, not from the Flyers.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, you're right. He went to Columbus first.
Yeah, we got Couturier from that deal because we got the 8th overall pick. I think it was the 8th. And that turned into Sean Couturier. So we fleeced Columbus on that one. But we paid him back. Because we felt bad, we gave them Bobrovsky. In exchange, they gave us Steve Mason. So, you know, the Flyers made up for that in the end of the day.
Mason had a great playoff in 2013-2014 against the Rangers.
He did.
He played great in that series, and then he fooled them into thinking that he's really that he's going to play like that all the time. And really all it was he was hot.
I will say this though, while yes, he was a streaky player, I still love Mace. I will have a soft spot for him just because he was a feisty guy. Like if you came anywhere near him, he'd beat the shit out of you. Like I was like, all right,
yeah, he had the hex. Yeah, he kind of when he came to Philadelphia, he immediately thought he was Hextall.
Yeah, and then the funny part is, it's like I still remember in that series, like what was it? There was that big pile up in front of the net. I think it was Game 6, and the Flyers won that, and they pushed Game 7. And there's this big pile up. Mason gets up and he just starts punching people left and right. I'm like, holy shit!
I think he was punching out Carcillo, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, that's probably what it was. Because Carcillo, of course,
Carcillo always in that series, he was standing in front of the net and driving them crazy.
Pretty much, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, he was kind of a dirty player, Carcillo, and when I remember when he got traded to the Rangers, he did all kinds of annoying things to everybody to drive everybody nuts. And I remember Brandon Prust that season broke Derek Stepan's jaw, and game 1, the next game of the series, they came to the Garden. And he just skated right onto the ice and proceeded to beat the crap out of Brandon Prust. And they got suspended for all 7 games of that or the next series.
I remember that.
Yes.
That was hilarious, I'll be completely honest with you.
He just went out without any worries or repercussions and just immediately just went out and beat him up. And I'm sure Stepan thanked him for that, but, you got yourself thrown out.
Well, I mean, was it really that big of a loss?
You know what? I think they could have used him against L.A.
All right. Yeah, okay, good point. L.A. had the big bodies. All right, yeah, you're right.
And not to get into fights, but just to be an irritant.
I got you. And they did have the big bodies. He could have, muscled up a little bit on them. Well, yeah.
He could have been a pest. I mean, he used to draw a lot of penalties because he was so annoying.
That's true. He could have gotten Mike Richards to lose his temper because Richards was known to lose his temper a time or two. And, he probably could have got...
A lot of the guys in the Kings were known to lose their temper a time or two. That was why...
Dustin Brown.
Yeah. Yeah, but you didn't really want to get into a fight with Dustin Brown, though.
No, you do not. Dustin Brown will...
Clifton, too, was another one that was... Really,
I remember too the series before that cup final, or no, it was the one against the Devils. But I remember Dustin Brown. He had gotten into a real nasty scrum early on in that series against the Coyotes. It was Game 5 or Game 4, and Mike Smith took his paddle and just hurled his paddle right into Dustin Brown's leg. Brown goes down, can't even stand. They actually called a penalty on Brown for embellishing and gave a penalty, an offsetting minor to Smith for roughing. I was like, called it Brown for embellishing, but he can't even stand. What?
He used to, back in the day, he was a very dirty goalie.
Oh, he was. Smith. Yeah.
He was bad. I mean, some of the stuff. He's calmed down a lot. He's not like that with Edmonton anymore because they can't afford to be playing shorthanded, that team.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy. He did some nutty things in goal.
He did, man. He freaking did. Don saying, question, fellas, do you see a team making a trade in the draft? Yeah. Arizona could be one of those teams. I could see them making a trade.
Trading down and getting more picks.
Yeah. I mean, they got the leverage to do it with those first rounds. So,
Yeah, they have 3 first round picks. I could see them trading 27 and 32 and trying to move and trying to get maybe the 10th pick or the 9th a pick in the top 10.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
That's what I would be trying to do.
Yeah, that would make sense. I could see that happening on that for the draft. So yeah, if I had to say, I would say that would be the team. Roska saying it's all about the Ducks.
There we go.
He also says Zdeno Chara and Joe Thornton and Claude Giroux to the Ducks. Joe Thornton's going to retire, and Zdeno Chara is retiring. And actually, he is.
Are you going to have the old age home out there? For the Ducks, I mean, we're talking about a 45-year-old player, a 41-year-old player, and a 34-year-old player.
Giroux's the youngest, by the way, out of all of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that one, but
I don't know. I don't think you have players that old on any team.
This would have been a line on the Flyers in the early 2000s, but
one of them maybe.
Yeah. Joe Thornton and Giroux probably. I don't know about Chara, but
yeah, Chara's had enough.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Swoop say, oh, and they had Hextall on 2 different occasions. Go figure. Yeah. True, right?
Yep.
And let's see. Swoopy saying the Kings had Carcillo earlier in that same year, didn't they? Did they? I'm not so sure. They might have.
I thought the Blackhawks had it. I thought we just got him from the Blackhawks.
Yeah, he might still have been on the Blackhawks, possibly. I really don't remember.
I could be wrong, but I thought he was on the Blackhawks.
I honestly don't remember what team he was on before he wound up on the Rangers, because I remember when the Flyers drew the Rangers and I saw Carcillo, and I'm like, oh, boy. I knew what was going to happen the moment I saw him. I'm like, this is not going to end well. Because I knew that it was going to be one of those points where someone's going to get drawn into some shit penalty because he's going to get into it, you know?
I remember Luke Shen got into a fight with him, and Luke Shen basically ragdolled him.
He did. Luke Shen absolutely did that.
Yeah,
I think
he kind of really beat the daylights out of him. And, and Carcillo goes off the ice like with a big smile on his face, like, look at me.
Carcillo, and it's also, was that in Philly or was that in the Garden? Because if it was in Philly, it would have been even funnier because it was,
it was in the Garden.
It was in the Garden, okay.
He got beat up pretty bad, though.
Okay, because if it had been in Philly, it would have been funnier because it's like, wow. And ironically, a few short years ago, we would have been cheering Carcillo. I still remember that fight he got into with Talbot. Oh, that fucked us so bad. He beat the shit out of Talbot in that Game 6 against the Penguins, and then the Penguins came back and beat the Flyers after they had a 3-0 lead on them. What's up?
Max Talbot?
Yep. What had happened was the Penguins got off to a real shit start in Game 6, and the Flyers were coming back in that series. And the Flyers were up 3-0 in that game, and it looked like the Flyers were going to win and push Game 7 back in Pittsburgh. This was 2000 and I don't think it was 08. I think it was the 09 series. And Talbot challenged Carcillo to a fight. Carcillo doesn't need much, of an invitation. Carcillo beat the piss out of him. Yeah. And it was bad. But Talbot was bleeding and shit. And Talbot was doing this to the fans in the box. He was doing this while Carcillo was doing this the whole time. And the Penguins, apparently, they joked with him in between periods about him getting his ass kicked, and then they went back out there and they managed to win the fucking game. I'm like, of course Carcillo wins the fight, and it goes negative on the Flyers. I'm like, that figures. That fucking figures.
That's not supposed to happen, though. Usually when you win a fight, it changes momentum.
Usually. But the problem is like, that's why Talbot did it. Talbot did it so that he could try and see if he can get the team juiced, and it worked. It's like, of course. And then Carcillo made a mistake. He made a huge mistake in that game. Swoop saying, Carcillo was with the Kings earlier that season. He was with the Blackhawks the year prior and the year following. Oh, okay. That's right. He did go back to the Blackhawks, too, right after he was done with the Rangers. They really loved him out there.
So wait, he was with the Rangers didn't get him from the Kings, though. They got him from the Blackhawks. He must have gone Kings, Blackhawks, Rangers, Blackhawks.
Might have been. It might have been something like that. I'm not sure.
It had to be because I'm pretty sure I think they got him for a 7th round pick. So,
I mean, I'm surprised they even threw a pick for Carcillo, but okay.
Listen, it was on the Flyers that I kept saying never won a fight. Like, he always hit everybody, but he never won a fight.
Oh God.
It was a left wing. I just can't remember who it was.
Was it a recent player, right?
Yeah, he got beat up by Derek Dorsett, and Derek Dorsett never beat up anybody.
Was it Zach Ronaldo?
Zach Ronaldo, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I had a
Didn't
feeling
we
that's
trade
who
him
you were
to
talking about.
Boston for a 3rd-round pick?
Swoopy is still disagreeing with you.
No.
I looked at his career.
Ronaldo didn't get. You looked at whose career? Carcillo?
Yeah, apparently.
Okay.
Probably the most views that Carcillo's had on his profile in years.
So who did the Rangers get Carcillo from? I thought it was Chicago, but I guess I'm wrong.
I guess it must have been L.A., like he was saying.
Yeah, okay. Maybe that's true. I mean, I know he played for all 3 of those teams. I just can't remember now the order.
Yeah. All right, then. So, other things, too. It seems like Jim Montgomery is rumored to become the new head coach for the Boston Bruins. Montgomery was the assistant, I believe, for the Tampa Bay Lightning under John Cooper. So,
Okay. I mean, I don't understand why they fired Cassidy, but okay.
I don't either. And I think Cassidy, did he get hired? I forget if he got hired.
I don't remember.
Yes, I think he did. I think he got hired by the Golden Knights. Yes, he got hired by the Golden Knights. Okay. That's right.
Okay. Yeah, I still don't quite understand why he got fired, but okay. I mean, Boston was not that good this year. The fact that he was able to turn that team around and get them into the playoffs and have a very tough 7-game series with Carolina, who was way better than them, I thought he did a pretty good job. So,
I mean, the Bruins over the last few seasons, he's managed to get a lot out of a one-line team, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah, they I guess maybe they thought when they re-signed Tyler Hall.
Taylor Hall. Yeah, I got you.
Hall, I think when they re-signed him, I think they were expecting a lot more, maybe from the team. I don't know. They're getting old. I mean, they're an old team now, the Bruins. I mean, yeah, they have some young guys on their defense, but their forwards are all old. They're old.
Yeah, the one line they have still is the perfection line, and I mean, Bergeron is coming back, but how long is he going to stick around? He was flirting with retiring this year. I mean, yeah, he decided against it, but maybe next year he does go through with it this time. And then on top of that, how long's Marchand got left? How long does, as we like to call him, cum fungus? How long does he got left before he's out? And then,
well, Swayman's a real good young goalie, so maybe he hangs around.
Swayman, yeah, I could see him sticking around. That's not really the issue.
I mean, but they're going to have strong goaltending, and that's important. And they still their foundation of goaltending and defense is pretty good still.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just you would think. What's up?
I don't think they score enough. I just don't.
No, they don't. They're like I said, they're that one-line team. Besides Pasternak, Bergeron, and Cumfungus over there, they don't really do much other than that. I mean, yeah, every now and again you get some goals from guys in the second and third line, but it doesn't happen all that often.
No, that's true. That's true.
So, yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe they're going in on a rebuild of some kind or a retool of some kind, and I guess they decided, you know what? We just don't want Cassidy. We want a player we want a guy who's going to develop the younger talent. Maybe that's what they want. Maybe. I don't know.
That could be it.
But
it's
all right.
I have the same issue with Trotz getting fired by the Islanders. I don't understand that either. But
the reason behind that is if you look up the history, and I didn't realize this until one of the guys I follow on YouTube, the hockey guy, he brought this up, and I looked it up then after that, and he does have a history of this. Lou Lamoriello runs through coaches really quickly. He doesn't keep them around very long. So it's. Yeah,
except for Jacques Lemaire.
But I think that's only because Jacques pretty much won cups for the most part with the Devils. I mean, and then Larry Robinson did win the one, but
Pat Burns won one too, didn't he?
Was it Pat Burns who? I thought
didn't Pat Burns win one for them.
Lemaire was in the 90s. He won that cup with them. Larry Robinson, I thought, did he win the cup? I thought he won in 2003, right? Larry Robinson was 2000. Never mind. Larry Robinson was 2000. So it might have been.
And then I believe Pat Burns won it last year.
Their last cup was Pat Burns.
In
Pat
03?
Burns died like a couple of years later.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Shit. Huh. Yeah, so there you go.
But I think that's what happened.
So there you go. Lou Lamoriello, history with the Devils. Besides Jacques Lemaire, 3 cups with 3 different coaches. So
you're right. Okay.
But also on top of it too, I think Trotz, they were saying he had some issues with Barzal. And so who are you going to side with? You're going to side with your star player, or you're going to side with the coach?
Oh, the player every time.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, Trotz got you to 2 straight, Eastern Conference final berths or the equivalent of such, but then the following year you missed. So it's like, yeah, I can see
but was that his fault?
No, I don't think it's his fault. I just think that's what their reasoning is behind it, besides the star player.
But I mean, come on, your first 13 games are on the road, right?
Yeah, that was rough.
Then a third of your team gets COVID. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's the coaches, and then when everybody gets back, they go on like a 10-game winning streak. Okay, and then they finally cooled off, but they went on like a 10-game winning streak to get themselves back within reasonable, like to within 10 points of the playoffs before they finally fell apart again. But I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah, right. What do you expect at the end of the day?
Yeah, that team with all the adversity that team went through, they didn't have a chance. Plus, they were getting old anyway.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got guys like Andy Green leading your team, it's like
Chara.
Yeah, and Chara, it's like, okay, come on.
I mean, who brought those? Andy. I mean, Lou Lamoriello is the one that brought those guys on the team.
He did. It's like, I don't know, man. Like, the thing, too, is that team, you know what it was? That team was just rallying around each other. They were just like, you know what? Fuck it. We're here. Let's go for it. That was kind of what that vibe was with that team. And they just freaking went on a run twice. I mean, I will give them credit. The Islanders, with the way that their team was structured, the fact they managed to do both of those runs is pretty freaking impressive. But you're going to lose to the better team, and Tampa was the better team both times. So, I mean, it was what it was.
I'll tell you what, losing 1-0 in Game 7 is a tough way to lose.
It's a tough way to lose, but it's nothing to be ashamed of because they fought really hard in that series.
No, just like my Rangers lost in Game 6 2-1.
Yeah, nothing to be ashamed of. Like, you lost to a really great team that, may very well win it next year. Who the fuck knows? Yeah.
Maybe. We got some work to do in the off season, though.
Of course, but all I can say is if Vasilevsky feels like winning another one, I don't know if there's much that can stop him. Vazzy's just like, Vazzy, angry. You won't like me when I'm angry, and then he goes and wins another damn cup.
Maybe Igor has the reaction.
Maybe Igor turns green underneath the Rangers jersey, and he gets mad.
Sometimes the way he plays, I think he does. He was amazing this year.
Yeah. Let's see here. That's what we say. In the 2015 draft, Ty Bruins screwed up. They had 4 first-round picks, I think. And then also, he said Bruins screwed up not picking Barzal in 2015 with one of their 4 picks. That's true.
Yeah, they did screw up. that I agree with him.
And then Roscoe saying Tampa Bay Lightning will not win another Stanley Cup next year. Yeah, all right, Roscoe. We'll see. We'll see.
Listen, I'm not saying anything until after the off season is over.
Yeah, and we get a better look at the team structure.
Let me take a look at their roster when they go to training camp, and then I'll let you know about that.
Yeah. All right, so on to our shootout segment, and we go. But first, before diving into the shootout segment, our sponsor, none other than the Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy. Listen, if you got any aches and pains, you never know. Sometimes you might be lifting something really heavy. All of a sudden, your back's killing you, your shoulder's really bothering you, or maybe you're working really hard, and next thing you know, you come home and the ice packs just aren't cutting it anymore, or the heating pad. You need to actually go see someone who can take care of it. that's the guy to go see. Specialized Physical Therapy over in Burlington and Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Make an appointment online at specializedphysicaltherapy.com, and they'll take care of that. You won't have any aches and pains anymore, and you'll feel good as new. Even better than you were before the pain started up. Okay. And so diving into our shootout segment, the round table of the questions we have to start off with, might as well kick off with the one, do you have a hot take for the draft, Brad? I know you weren't here a couple weeks ago when I threw that question out the first time, but do you got one for me?
Boy. Yeah, okay. The Arizona Coyotes will move up in the draft.
Move up in the draft. Okay. So they'll trade two of those?
They're 27 and 32, and they will end up getting a pick in the top 15.
Okay. All right, then. So Arizona moving up to the top 15 by trading away their 2 late picks in the first round. Okay. My hot take will be the Flyers will trade away their first round pick. Why? Because that's just how this shit works in Philadelphia. It's just how it works. We are not allowed to have nice things here. It's just not how it works.
I mean, what do you think? They're the Knicks?
I mean, I've said this before, whether they're the Knicks or they're slowly becoming the freaking Buffalo Sabres, too, of the freaking NHL.
They're the NHL version of the Knicks if they start trading their first. Yeah, we're going to trade back in the first round. Oops! Oh no! Now we only have the second round pick. Oh well.
Or would you be surprised? Chuck Fletcher is a dumb motherfucker. He is an idiot. So I mean, this is the same guy who signed Kevin Hayes to that gigantic freaking deal. So again,
well, I mean, I like Kevin Hayes, but not. That was too much money. I mean, looking back at it now, the Rangers were smart to get rid of him.
Well, Hayes, yeah, absolutely,
yeah. They had. I mean, they regretted it. I think the first couple of years, but because but Trouba this year blossomed. So,
Swoop saying I'm cracking up. He said he and I are on the same page. Finally, somebody agrees. Can't stop laughing. Oh man, my stomach is killing me. I don't know if his stomach is killing him out of laughter or if it's coming out of that awful pain of sickness and just sheer dread of knowing that is the truth. Let's see here. On to our next one, and that is move of the week. What do you think was the best move so far you've seen?
So far, I think Fiala going to the Kings.
All right. I do like that move. I think that's a real good move for them.
I think that was a really good move for the Kings. They really did need a reliable player like him. He's a poor man. He's a poor man's guy who can kind of do it all, but he's not great at anything, but he's not bad at anything either. He's a pretty good player. Very useful player on a good team.
Yeah, and I think that he could be utilized very effectively in terms of, depth-wise, but also in terms of special teams and such or not. So I would say that was a real good move for LA to go grab him.
Yeah, I think. I don't think he was getting enough ice time in Minnesota to be as good as he can be with the Kings. The Kings will play him a lot more than the Minnesota Wild played him.
Absolutely.
So,
all right then, and our final one is: who do you think is the top player in the draft? If it's not Shane Wright, do you feel like there's somebody else that you feel is a better
Cooley.
player? Cooley? All right. I was thinking the same thing myself on Cooley. Like I thought, maybe it's Cooley. Possibly who might wind up being the big.
I mean, from what I've heard, the Canadians have still not made a decision, but everybody says they'd be shocked if they didn't pick Wright.
Yeah, I've been hearing that too, where Wright might not possibly go at number 1. There is a possibility for
There's
that.
no way the Canadians would. If the Canadians did that, and it blew up in their faces, that oh my god, Canadian fans aren't nice either. By the way, Matt.
I'm sure they're not. I'm sure they're very much not.
They would really have a problem if they don't pick Wright. They're going to be really mad because if Cooley doesn't come out in his first year and be as good as Timo Solani, God forbid.
Yeah, or if if they can't help but be if they're not a reincarnate of Maurice Richard.
Yeah,
like all
pretty much. Oh my God, yeah, I can't see them doing that, but I can't see them going for Cooley instead of Shane Wright. But you know what? If they do and Cooley doesn't score 50 goals,
I got you. I got one. I got one perfect now. Hot take. Okay. The Canadians will not take Shane Wright in the first round. They will take a French Canadian player, number 1 overall, no matter where he's ranked. If his last name's got Benoit, Brisebois, or Friendeno, or or whatever, they're taking that player first overall.
I can see them doing that in the second round.
Whoever's the French Canadian kid, he's on the team. When he's starting.
Doing that in the second round. I can't see them doing that in the first round, though. Doing that in the second round, like all the top players that are there. Well, where's our French Canadian guy? Oh, okay. Well, he's in the 4th or 5th round. That's okay. I'll take him.
It's like, oh, he's projected to go 7th round. No French Canadian's really a 7th rounder. And yeah, we'll take you.
And somebody called George Laraque and see if he's willing to come back.
Yeah, we'll bring George Laraque back to protect this young stud that we got in the 7th round here.
Exactly.
This young stud.
Let's bring him back. We'll bring him back.
Yeah, we'll have this protection for this Jean-Sebastien Baptiste Dumont or whatever the hell we'll throw.
Exactly.
All right, so that will do it for this edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. Thank you, Don. We had a great time with everybody, and we hope to see everybody back. So I'll have to tell Brian and Rob this as well, but Brad, you'll be the first to know as well as the fam. I will probably not be here next week. Reason for, I am moving. So we are moving to Maple Shade, which is right next door to where we live now in Morristown. So yeah, not far, but the thing is, we have a lot of stuff we got to do, a lot of stuff we got to set up and everything like that. And so because a lot of work. Yeah, so we got a lot of work ahead of us. Plus, we got a few things we got to hammer out before we start moving in early. So we might not be able to do that exactly. So we might have to do it all in one giant lump sum on that day. So because of that, I will probably not be here next week. And that will then go to you guys, to you, Brad, and to Rob, and to Brian to carry on and wave the flag after the draft has come and gone to take a look and see what happened there. But yeah, so that'll be next week. I won't be here, but I'm sure everything will be fine. I've trusted these guys to hold down the fort plenty of times, and it hasn't been taken over yet, except that one time. But that's okay, because we took it right back the following week. Anyway, all right. So thank you all for joining us. Hopefully you guys will be back next week as Brad, Rob, Bry will break down what they saw in the draft. And hopefully the Flyers will have a good one. I know Brad is hoping they don't. But and then hopefully they will, though. Hopefully. A guy can dream.
They'll take that one little 5'4" guy from Switzerland.
Yeah.
Scored 2 goals last year in the Swiss League, but looked promising.
Yeah, looked promising. then actually watch him turn into a Danny Briere 2.0. Can't score during the regular season, but holy shit, can he score in the playoffs? It's like, all right, all's forgiven. Oh, all right. So that'll be next week. Until then, we thank everybody for joining us. We thank you for chiming in as always. We love it when you guys are here. You guys are the lifeblood of A2D. And if you want to support the Hockey Happy Hour, but you also want to support A2D in general with all the great shows that we got here and all the great guys we got, putting everything they have out here live every week, you can go to phillydrinkers.com/A2D radio. They got all the great merchandise over there. They always have new t-shirts available, and they've always got new designs coming out. Of course, the famous ones, the Quarterback Factory, or Bad Things Always Happen in Philadelphia with Gritty on the bottom of there. And they've got show shirts specific to each show. The Hockey Happy Hour has its own, and every show's got its own. So, again, absolutely check it out and support that. They got mugs as well and all kinds of stuff over there. So phillydrinkers.com. If you want to support us, go check it out. And then finally, for our show sponsor, as usual, Manscaped. If you need to get rid of some of those old hygiene habits, this is the way to do it. Get 20% off free shipping with the code A2D at manscaped.com. It's time to throw out those old hygiene habits and upgrade your life. Manscaped.com. Get the tools to make it happen. Unlock that confidence and make yourself feel like a king while you do it. All right. Oh, no. What's Swoopy? One last moment. Take it out and show your animation about Flyers needing to have a good draft. All right.
Oh, yeah, right. Maybe not.
All right. Let's have a good draft, boys. Real simple. Why? Because I am sick and fucking tired of watching us do the same goddamn thing year in and year out where we go ahead and we just go and pick some... this guy, he's like 6'8", and he weighs 202 pounds. He's this big burly bastard. He'll do fine. He can't skate worth the damn, but you know what? At least he can stand in front of the net, look like a fucking brick wall in front of Carter Hart, so he gets blinded and a puck goes by him in the back of the net. It's like, great job, buddy. You know what you're doing. What's your name again? Olaf Dipshit? All right, Dipshit, good job. You're a great player. Thank you so much. So happy we picked you in the first fucking round. Waste of time, waste of fucking space. Like this whole Flyers organization has been over the last 10 goddamn years.
Don't draft my balls itch in the second round.
Listen, that's exactly what the Flyers are going to do, and you fucking know it. But at the end of the day, fucking stop it. I've had a fucking enough of this bullshit. Let's have a really great fucking draft this time, boys. Chuck Fletcher, you are nowhere near allowed the draft table. I know you're the GM and everything, but you are not allowed. You are either in the hotel room or you are strapped to a fucking chair with no ability to make a call, to do a text, to do nothing until the draft is fucking over, you piece of shit. I don't want you nowhere near it. So, thank you. Fuck you. Bye, Fletcher. And on top of that as well, boys, for the love of God, do us a favor. Get your head out of your ass. Do us a favor. Get your head out of your ass. Get some great players, and let's develop them this time. And let's not just say, hey, we got this young player called Travis Konechny. Let's bullshit his development by, absolutely changing the system on him every 2 fucking seasons and killing his entire momentum. Can we not do that? Can we not do that this fucking time, please?
Maybe.
Please?
Maybe.
All right. Maybe.
We'll try.
Yeah. All right. You'll try. Hopefully you will, because I'm tired of hearing that. All right, guys. There's my frustration taken out on them. And I hope that is enough to tide you guys over for a couple of weeks.
There you go.
Well, yeah, hopefully it will be. Trust me, if the Flyers fuck up in the first round, you want to see anger? Oh, you'll get anger, all right. Trust me, you will get anger like you've never seen before. Piss and vinegar just raining down. So,
all I can say is I guarantee you the Rangers will not make a mistake with their first-round pick this year.
You know, that surprisingly doesn't make me feel any better, but it's also because they don't have a first-round pick.
Well,
so, all right, guys. We'll see you next week right here on the Hockey Happy Hour. Enjoy the draft, everyone. Flyers, don't you fuck up. I'll be watching you. And we will see you next week right here on A2DRadio.com. Peace and love, everyone.